I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call.
Make room for Daddy! But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt live and rolling here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. No crossover today, so we are full on through 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. here, Middays with Matt. Matt McMaster is always joined by Josh Odson on a very special, partly sentimental, partly newsy, partly speculative day, if you will. We're going to do all. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry. We're going to speculate. We're going to talk about rumors. We're going to talk. I think we're going to end up talking about like every single conference, every single power conference in college sports today. I have something planned on the SEC. I have something planned in the Big 12. I have something planned in the Big 10. And obviously, we have something planned for the Big East as today Creighton men's basketball takes on Rutgers in the Crown. So beautiful. So, you know what? I love it when life comes full circle. You know, I love it when things just come all the way around. That's kind of what I try to do in the crossover sometimes. We start with one topic, and at the end of it, you try and bring it back. Last year was really the dawn. Like, I feel like Creighton, how about this? The Crown tournament, and when Creighton gets eliminated from the Crown tournament, almost is, or if, God, if they won it, it would be the best. It would actually, I really want Creighton to win the Crown, because then it would be full circle. It would put a stamp, a calendar stamp, a year stamp on what has been arguably one of the crazier full years of college basketball in this state. If you want to even move it a couple of weeks back, we're basically 400 days removed from Omaha men's basketball making their first ever NCAA tournament, from Nebraska winning the Crown, getting to the Sweet 16, winning 2 NCAA tournament games, Creighton winning an NCAA tournament game last year, and then Mac retiring. It would, if Creighton were to win the Crown tournament, it would put a full circle stamp on what basketball, college basketball in this state has looked like. It would be something, because, you know, obviously Nebraska makes it to the Crown. I remember being so sick and tired of that Nebraska men's basketball team last season. I remember just being like, this season, man, where you go and you beat UCLA at home, and then you go on that road trip and you beat a good Oregon team, and you beat Washington, you go on this winning streak, and you're like, hell yeah, you know, like, and you're looking at the schedule, and you got the Minnesota game, you got the Penn State game, and you're like, hey, this team, like, they're on the bubble. You're trying to figure out if they're going to be a 7 seed, if they're going to be an 8 seed, what regional they're going to be in, and then they end up losing all those games in the back half of the year, and then it got capped by losing to a not very good Iowa team in any case and scenario, and not even making the Big Ten tournament. And it was just so disappointing from the perspective of it being such a weak bubble. And even at the very end, Nebraska's still very much in it to make the NCAA tournament, and they lose. They don't even make the Big Ten tournament. You're like, why are they even playing in the Crown? Like, why is this happening?
I'm ready for this to be done.
This is so stupid. I don't want to watch this team. I don't want to enjoy this tournament. And then he had all the Creighton fans making jokes, being like, "Oh, Nebraska can't make a real tournament, so they got to go to the Crown." And then Nebraska fans, because we're really good at being trolls, end up being like, "Well, we're playing games in April, right?" And then it became this really like annoying brother scenario where you're like making fun of each other. The fact that it's flipped on its head now is awesome. Creighton fans, you have my full blessing to say, hey, we're playing games in April. Isn't that what matters? Isn't that what counts? I think it's hysterical.
It's an incredible spin
I'm
jealous I didn't think of.
And also too, I I don't blame Nebraska basketball fans for being like, shut up. You didn't make the tournament, right? Nebraska basketball fans should totally be allowed to be like, we made the real tournament. We're here. And I'm just sitting back with my popcorn. I'm just throwing it in my mouth. Now, Jack Mitchell had a great spin zone. Okay. He is now all in on the crown. Like, he was watching the Baylor Minnesota game yesterday.
Oh,
and
wow.
he was celebrating the crown. And I think it's because now I think he's trying to be like, Nebraska established the crown or something to that extent. That's an incredible spin zone. But regardless, Creighton men's basketball plays tonight, 9:30 p.m. Central Time. Tip, potentially Greg McDermott's last game. 402-951-1620 is the phone number to call in. It's the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. Do you want to share your favorite MAC memories? You want to share your favorite games that you've been to? Have you ever had an interaction with Coach Greg McDermott? If you ever have a funny story that you want to share, something you want to reminisce about, what he meant to you? Because this potentially could be the very last game that he coaches for Creighton men's basketball. It's a momentous occasion. I feel like we've already kind of done this in a way when he got announced that he was going to be officially retiring. But today could potentially be the day that it's all said and done and we officially begin a new era the next day with Alan Huss being the head coach of Creighton men's basketball. So if you want to call in or text in or email in the Equitable Bank Zone inbox, Equitable Bank, they take banking personally. Old man Doug always put on the first ring. Go ahead and do that. Favorite MAC memories, favorite MAC stories, whatever it might be. We will take those all day, especially too on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed at Matt McMedia, at Josh Odson. Before we get fully rolling here on Middays with Matt, we'll talk a bunch of sports. I have a couple of complaints.
Oh, okay.
Okay. First off, number one, I'm officially out on Dodge.
The street?
Yes. Officially
Okay.
done. Today's rain, especially in the morning, if you were out on the road, terrible. Not fun. Did not enjoy driving in that in any way, shape, or form. It was not a good time. It was kind of the first time since I've moved here, and it's been a year now, where I've driven on Dodge while it's really coming down, while it's really raining. And somehow I was in the middle. I'm in the middle of my lane. I'm driving up Dodge. This is like on 46th to about 49th Street. Okay. I'm driving up Dodge. And somehow my right tire is in like the curb and water's being spread up to my windshield on the right side.
Sure. Okay.
But I'm in the middle of the lane. Like, I'm not too far off to the right. And somehow while I'm in the middle of the lane, Josh, my left tire is also being sunk down into the middle of the road because there's a bunch of potholes and it's so improperly asphalted, you know? And so it's like, now I got water coming up from the left side onto my windshield. My windshield wipers are working overtime. It's incredibly dangerous. I'm getting zero traction. Dodge is dangerous. It is. What are we doing? Like, how can it not? And it's, you know, the rain wasn't a drizzle. Like, it was
a steady rain, but it wasn't pouring.
It wasn't a thunderstorm. It wasn't like a flash flood or anything like that. I can't imagine that road and its safety when average amount of rain is coming down. Quite ridiculous.
My complaint would be, turn your headlights on if it's raining.
Do people not turn their headlights on when it's raining?
Not this morning.
Look, and by the way, I say I hate Dodge, and a bunch of calls come raining in on the Prairie Flower Zone Casino hotline. But I'm just saying, Matt McMaster officially out on Dodge. Also, too, I will never get over the fact that I can't turn left off that street. And I also want to put out an official proposal. Here. I want to flip Dodge going west. So when I'm going west from 30th and Dodge down to 50th and Dodge, I want to flip the restaurants that are on the right side to the restaurants that are on the left side. Because if you know, let's say you live in downtown and you're going out west, all right? So you're working west in West O, and you live in the downtown, or you live in the Midtown area, or you live, maybe close to the stadium or whatnot. and you got to take Dodge to go to your work, right? So you're going down Dodge. All of the places that you would go to breakfast to, right? All of the places that you might go and get a croissant sandwich or a breakfast sandwich or a breakfast burrito or whatever it might be. All of those places that you would pick up a nice maybe cup of coffee and a sandwich are on the left side of Dodge. And if you are going west, all of the places, and so now let's flip it. If you're going east, right? All of the places that I would get lunch after I'm leaving work. So let's say I'm leaving work and I'm going east and I'm looking to grab a meal. All of the places that I would grab a meal would be on the left side. Okay. Dodge is not properly constructed for the people who are leaving in the morning west and coming back east.
You can
It's
turn
not.
left into a business on Dodge.
But it's a pain in the
It
ass.
is. It is.
It's a pain in the ass, and they're also too. I just feel like I'm being a nuisance to the person behind me.
You're holding up the line.
Like, I understand that I can turn left into a business off Dodge. I know that rule. But when I'm the guy that's behind the person who's turning left into that business, I'm pissed. I'm mad. I'm not happy. I'm just sitting here. I don't like sitting in the third lane. Okay. And I definitely don't love turning left across 3 lanes. It's a little ridiculous. And I, as somebody who didn't grow up here, I couldn't imagine growing up in Omaha thinking that it's normal that you can't turn left off to a very busy street. Like being on a very busy street. You can't, it's hard to turn left. It's just a little ridiculous. I'm officially out. Let's go to the Prairie Flowers Casino Zone hotline. David has a call about Dodge. David, am I wrong here? Am I off base here?
I think I feel your pain, but I think it is a little bit misguided.
Okay.
And I live right off Dodge, so I understand. And my neighborhood actually had a left turn that was recently removed, which makes it frustrating. But I think the frustration should be for your dining experience should be directed at the business owners who decided to place their business
I agree.
in that location.
I agree.
Not Dodge Street itself.
I agree.
Now, I have a proposal on that, but I was calling about potholes. But my proposal for that is there should be a law that says you can turn left on Dodge, provided there is no car behind you. So that solves the frustration problem. People are considerate. And if you're not paying attention, that would be a little compromise. But yeah,
maybe I could take that. I could take that. What's your take on the potholes?
Well, I am frustrated because I live a couple blocks. I live basically on Farnham, and they closed one of the roads, and it's made my street a very major, almost thoroughfare, even though it's a residential street. So now we have a plethora of potholes. And I was reading online that evidently if you take a little paint or chalk and draw a penis around the pothole, it motivates the city to come and fix it much more rapidly than if you do not.
You read? Wait, David. We need to wait.
You heard it, Omaha. Get to work,
David. We need to wait. We need to have a conversation here. So, have you heard this? Who told you this?
I've read it multiple times, and I've actually talked to people who said they have done it, and they come. Not only do they fix the pot, they come first and they power wash it off, and then either fill it or put like asphalt around the whole thing, so you can't. We are very anti-penis in our culture, evidently.
Well, obviously,
so cannot have them on the street.
Now, have you tried it yourself?
Theoretically, it may be something on the horizon.
David, I think you need to do this. I think you need to figure this out. I think if this 100% works out, I think we know what we need to do as a society in Omaha.
I may not have been smart to use my real name.
Maybe not. Maybe not. We'll all blame you. We know Mayor Ewing. We'll sick the dogs on you, David.
Please refer to me as Richard from now on.
Richard. Whoa! That's a good alias. Thank you, David. That would be a great alias for the guy who is drawing penises and potholes across Omaha.
Man goes by the alias Richard Johnson.
Richard Johnson. Man goes by the name Holden McGroin. has been putting some senile pictures in potholes across Omaha. So there it is. There is my complaint about Dodge. Okay. The street was terrible today during a slightly above average rain. And I can't get, by the way, too, this Wendy's here on Dodge. All right. I like Wendy's. They don't do breakfast. What are we doing? I feel like they're never open.
They opt out.
Anytime I drive into that Wendy's is either closed or it's not operating. It's a little ridiculous. It's just slightly ridiculous here. So there that is. I also have plenty of complaints.
Oh, good. I was worried you only had one. I wasn't worried. I knew there were more.
I know. Come on. I'm an old man. I love to bitch and moan. That's why we tried doing the bitching hour.
The guys from the Jet Awards were sad that they couldn't sit with a cup of coffee and change the world with you.
No, they were asking about me.
I know.
The Jet Award winner was like, "Where's the young guy?" And then when I shook his hand, I didn't know if Caden would remember who I was. And he goes, "Hey," like very happy to see me. I was like, "Hell yeah,
he's got that Iowa Western education. He remembers.
He does.
Sharp as a tack, those Reavers.
They are. We love the Reavers.
Mm-hmm.
We don't love the Reavers who go to be Hawkeyes necessarily, but we love the ones who are Reavers.
Sometimes it's their best offer.
I'm 100%. I'm 100% more likely to like you as an Iowa Hawkeye if you went to Iowa Western.
Okay.
You have a plus 100 XP in terms of likability for me.
That's important to the kids.
It is. XP is always important. You always got to get those boosts. You got to buy those DLCs. Wait until your kid is into video games, Josh Hodson. Is he already?
He's into watching kids play Minecraft on YouTube.
Yeah, so was I. How do you feel about that?
It's generally harmless.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a little weird. Not what I did growing up, but whatever.
Is he playing Minecraft yet though? Like, does he have it on a PC?
He has it on his Nintendo.
On his Nintendo.
Yeah.
Wow.
He fires it up from time to time, but he really enjoys watching people who are expertly skilled at it do it.
You got to get that young man on a computer. That will change his life.
That seems dangerous.
No, not in that regard. I'm just saying playing Minecraft.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Are you the type of
Feels
parent
like a slippery slope.
Are you the type of parent that limits your kid's screen time?
No,
you don't.
I'm not watching or paying attention to him.
Have you tried getting your kid into movies as much as you are?
Yes.
And how is that working out?
Pretty well.
Okay. See, that is going to be valuable.
Mm-hmm.
I think because we're using me as a stencil here, I think kids who are 15 years younger than me, when they have like movie pop culture knowledge, they'll immediately be looked at as like the smartest person in the room. If you can eliminate,
that's kind of the lane we're trying to take with them.
I literally think that if you can talk more about Ferris Bueller's Day Off in 15 years than you can about Brain Rot or 6'7", I think you're going to be pretty well off in society.
He can tell you a lot about Space Jam, the original.
Really?
Yeah.
God, that first scene when little Mike is in the backyard. I'm going to go to North Carolina.
That's a good college. You get a good education.
Get a good education, Michael. Oh, now that's a real sport, Michael.
Go
real
ahead.
Sport.
Shoot till you miss.
Shoot till you miss. And then I'm going to make it the NBA.
Everybody get up.
Well, no, it's the but he's about to like go up and he's like,
welcome to the team.
Welcome to the space jam. Welcome to space jam. That was it. That was on my I had a VCR and I had 7 VHS tapes. And that was one of the VHSs I had.
All right. Wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you what the other 6 were.
Monsters, Inc.
Okay.
The Lion King.
Okay.
The Lion King 2.
Mm-hmm.
Aladdin, but the 40 Thieves one.
Oh, okay.
Like something of the 40 Thieves. I think that was like the 4th or 3rd Aladdin that they had made. I don't even think the genie's in that Aladdin, actually. It was Lion King, Monsters, Inc. Oh, Star Wars, The Clone Wars 2. And Monsters, Inc., Star Wars, The Clone Wars, The 2 Lion Kings.
This explains a lot because these are movies you often reference. All of them.
Space Jam. There's one more that I'm missing.
Okay.
For sure. Oh! Scooby-Doo, the real life version with Freddie Prinze Jr.
Where Scrappy was
with
the
Scrappy-Doo.
villain?
Yeah. That one.
Spoiler alert for Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, sorry. Where Scrappy-Doo was the villain. And that's why I sometimes do, Scoobs, we got to get out of here.
It's pretty good Shaggy.
I know. People were very impressed with my Jerry Jones yesterday.
It was sneaky good because a lot of people do it cartoony. And
yeah. No,
yeah.
I think it's best for the players that they go ahead. we give them more exposure as to what, obviously having Micah around something. I mean, the team's better off now. I feel like it's okay. It's okay. So yeah, that was the Space Jam. But God, I love how that first scene is so. Get a good education, Michael. Get a good education. That's a real sport.
It's a it feels like a real lived-in father-son moment.
You know what? That might be the best acting in that movie.
Yeah, actually. I think you're right.
That might actually be from like a cinematography standpoint. That might be the best.
Yeah.
That might be the best. Oh, sorry. Hank is right. It's Attack of the Clones. Clone Wars, great. Had that on our first, that was the cartoon. Okay. That's awesome. Attack of the Clones is what I had. We only had that Star Wars movie. We didn't have Phantom Menace or Revenge of the Sith. We had the worst one out of the three by far. Sometimes we had a fast forward. Oh, I had Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. My mom took a VHS and recorded it on the TV. And so we had recorded Sweet Life, like a 5-hour tape of Sweet Life and Zach and Cody with the Disney Channel commercials. I don't think I've referenced Zach and Cody on this show.
I don't think you
loved that show growing up. That was like my Bluey.
I was too old for it. I know it was very popular.
Have you? Well, your kid's out of the Bluey stage.
Yeah, his mom and dad liked Bluey more than he did.
What? You liked Bluey more than?
Yeah. It's a good program.
When you say it, like you were actually entertained by Bluey?
Yeah.
Did you letterbox Bluey?
No.
Okay. Do you want to?
Finished it.
Okay. Are you going to get around to it?
No, probably not.
All right. I know your kid. I'm not shocked that your kid does not like Bluey.
Not enough action. Not enough stuff blew up.
Well, I think you need to show him SummerSlam 2000 is what you need to do.
We showed him a couple old matches, and I was surprised how disinterested he was.
Really?
Yeah. Showed him a TLC match.
I was going to say, did you show him Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, and Edge and Christian?
We did that. We did.
I'm going to be honest with you. If he can't get along to that, I don't know what he's going to get along to.
He was rather ho-hum towards the Undertaker Mankind Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, I'm going to be real with you. I'm kind of ho-hum towards it too.
I mean,
it's not really
it's quite the spectacle.
It's not really that great outside of that one moment, if we're being honest. I mean the best, it's mid wrestling, and then they just almost killed a man.
A couple of times.
They literally didn't know if he was going to survive that. Like there was
only one way to find out, Matt.
Dude, there was no life in the 80s and 90s was absolutely ridiculous to me. Where a man could be like, yeah, you see that like story and a half structure? I'm just gonna, I mean, that table, that'll break my fall, right? We're only on national television. Crazy. Anyway, we're going to talk about a lot today. That was our crossover between Josh and I, essentially. So there you go.
Good crossover.
Thank you. Happy New Year. We got a lot to talk about today. Like I said, Coach McDermott, potentially his final game tonight between the Blue Jays and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, 9:30 p.m. Central Time. Pre-game here, Blue Jay overtime will start at 8 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. And then at 9, we'll have the pregame with both Connor Happer and John Bishop. These two men, I listened to their broadcast when they were back in Vegas for the Players Era Championship. And it was John and Connor together on a call were absolutely phenomenal. If it's anything like they were on Creighton baseball games, I think it should be something that everybody should go ahead and tune in and listen to. So that's awesome for the station that those two men will be on the call for the game tonight. We will have Connor Happer on the show today at 12 o'clock. He's going to, I believe, call in and we will talk to him about the game, what this means to him, potentially being on the call for Greg McDermott's final game. We know how much the Jays mean to Mr. Happer. So we will have a great conversation with him at 11 o'clock. Got to be careful here. Steve Sipple is on the show. Texted Sip this morning.
Okay, that was my follow-up.
Said, hey, we good? He goes, si, amigo. So there we go. We are rocked and ready to roll with Steve Sipple at 11 o'clock. And then I believe I think it's an Andy Kendi week. I believe it's AK that we have. I think we had.
I believe so.
We had Lauren
Would be
Michelson
correct.
on last Thursday, so we will have Andy Kendi on at 1:15 today. Loaded lineup here on Middays with Matt, and some topics we'll talk about. I mentioned earlier in the show, if you're just joining us now, I think we're going to end up talking about every single conference in college sports today. We're going to talk about the Big East. We already have touched on it with Creighton men's basketball playing the Rutgers Scarlet Knights tonight. We are going to talk about the Big 12. There is a spat going on right now. There is a spat. One of my favorite words, a good old spat.
Is it between Audie Crooks and Iowa State?
No, but talk about losing a lot in 1 year. I mean, the Cyclones losing Matt Campbell, losing like their whole football team to Penn State in the process, losing Audie Crooks. Seemed like we were touch and go for a second with TJ Otzelberger. That was a name that a lot of people, for whatever reason, initially before he put that all out, was like he could legitimately leave Iowa State. Iowa State, good for them, cannot let that happen. But Audie Crooks averaged 25.8 points per game. Probably smart decision for her to stay in college, considering the fact that, Audie Crooks' offensive highlights, awesome. Audie Crooks' defensive highlights, not so awesome. But that'll be a name to watch in the transfer portal wherever she goes. I guarantee she's going to make some money. So good for her. Good for her. So she's in the transfer portal. But no, we will be talking about Brett Yormark and Cody Campbell. It was destined to happen. It was destined to happen that the money man of the Big 12, the dude who is running the Big 12 for Texas Tech in terms of giving them dollars, whether it be to their football team or whether it be to their basketball team or whether it be to their softball team, Cody Campbell and Brett Yormark have gotten into a little bit of a spat. Yormark being like, I don't bend the knee to that guy. And Campbell being like, you better watch your mouth. Better look out. I'm propping up this conference all on my own, it feels like at this point. So that'll be a very interesting study point to see how that pans out between the man who holds all of the money bags and the man who holds a lot of the power in the Big 12. We'll touch on that and have that conversation. Lane Kiffin had an article written about him by On3. Now, I read the On3 article. It's a puff piece, okay? It's a puff piece. There's a lot more about Brian Kelly in that article than what the article's headline actually believes you to think what it's about. Like the quote that's coming from the article is this one. Let me read it to you. The quote that is coming from the article is, why not win in year one? You don't build stuff over 3 to 4 years, okay? You would think that the article, first off, Lane Kiffin said that quote. Lane Kiffin didn't say that quote. That was a quote from a donor. And you would think the article dives into why this is the way that it is and, a real think piece as to why teams are moving forward and building things quicker. It's not. It's not. The article is a lot of Brian Kelly was bad and Brian Kelly didn't do things the right way. And Lane Kiffin is doing things the right way and making people incredibly happy in Baton Rouge. But that quote, you don't build things over 3 to 4 years anymore. That quote, I think immediately Husker football fans look at that quote and have a visceral reaction. They kind of facepalm a little bit and be like, what do you mean no one's doing it? We're doing it. That's the vision we have. We're going to dive into that quote. And whether or not that quote is right, and whether or not that quote is correct, and whether or not Nebraska should be worried if they're on the back foot when it comes to roster building in college football. We'll have that conversation. Bill Self is staying in Kansas. Is that good for Kansas? Is that good for Iowa?
Good for Iowa.
I know. Why would I ask that? Josh Hodgson.
Bill Self coaches at Kansas.
I know. We'll have that conversation later. You'll find out why I posed that question when it comes to Bill Self staying at Kansas. We also have some news that was breaking today. Kirk Cousins going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Solid move. Solid move. No complaints. No issues. He's a fine QB. Good guy.
It's an upgrade over Geno.
I've watched Quarterback on Netflix. Every time I watch it, I'm impressed by Kirk Cousins. Think he's a solid human being. clearly cares about football, was just put in the wrong offense when he was in Atlanta. It was a lot of motions. It was a lot of turning your back to the defense. It was doing a lot of things that he's uncomfortable doing. And it didn't end up working out for him. And I think that's a lot on Atlanta and also a lot on Kirk Cousins. But regardless of that, he ends up going to Vegas. I think it's a very smart move from Vegas because, if you're going down the line of veteran quarterbacks that you would like to, in a way, mentor your young quarterback, I think Kirk Cousins would be toward the top of the list. Mike Schaefer brought up a great point this morning. I want to give him credit for. Talked about how Fernando Mendoza is one of his top comparisons is Kirk Cousins. And so if you can, look, Schaefer, it was Happer or Schaefer. I don't remember which one specifically said it, but they're like, if you get a better version of Kirk Cousins, guys, a better version of Kirk Cousins is a pretty damn good quarterback. I mean, can you imagine if you had a version of Kirk Cousins that could work outside of the pocket? Can you imagine if you had a version of Kirk Cousins that could, make off schedule plays? Can you imagine if you had a version of Kirk Cousins that won the big game week in and week out, just like Fernando Mendoza has won the big game week in and week out in his 1 year at Indiana? I'm just saying, I know that Kirk kind of falls into the weird category of quarterback where he was never great, but very seldomly was he bad. I mean, there were plenty of moments where he was very, very good. And I know that Minnesota Vikings fans are more, they're more fixated on the part that they probably overpaid for Kirk Cousins, considering how much he contributed to
that guy's
them.
a legend at the bank. He got guaranteed money from the Raiders.
Dude, so much money. So much money. But I think it's a really good pickup for Vegas. And I think if you're at a point where Kirk Cousins is starting more than 5 games a season, 4 games a season for Vegas, it's probably a bad sign. But just in terms of having him in and around the locker room, especially him around a young quarterback that is drawing comparisons to him, I think it's a very good pickup. Very savvy stuff from the Raiders. You don't typically say that about that franchise.
That's true.
You don't really typically touch on that when it comes to them. So we will talk about that. And we will talk about Bryce Sanford. Should he stay or should he go? Let's have this convo. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's actually talk about the pros and cons. Let's talk about, there's mock drafts coming out right now that have him going in the second round. I think it would be foolish of Price not to dip his toe into the water and go through the NBA combine and go through these team workouts and try and figure out, hey, where do I stand as an NBA prospect? I think it would be foolish for him not to do that. But what are the pros and cons? Let's weigh this out. Let's talk about what are the decisions? What are the options and the things that are weighing down on Bryce Sanford for him to potentially decide to return to the University of Nebraska? We're going to talk about that next. Coming up, we're going to lay it all out. We're going to tell you, I'm not going to say what he should or shouldn't do necessarily. It's not my decision. It's not my life, right? I'm not Bryce Sanford. I'm not
You're
saying
not Bryce Sanford.
No, I'm not. Breaking news.
You have not been moonlighting as Bryce Sanford when the show's over.
No.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Not that I want to be anybody other than me. I don't. But I would love to have that guy's jump shot.
I had never seen you and Bryce Sanford in the same place
No one
at the
has.
same time.
No one has. Everyone can officially
I had some
declare.
questions.
You know what? You can now officially declare that I'm also not Caden Weejet because you saw us together. We saw us together in the same room. So unfortunately,
I think you're as fast, as bold, as daring as Caden, but you are clearly not
out of
Caden.
Here. Get out of here. Maybe in the mind. Maybe I don't know. I don't know Caden's intellect. I can tell you though, right now, he's super fast and he's really good at returning kicks. So we're not from a physical. They literally teams just Nebraska specifically would give up 20 yards of field just so he couldn't return it.
That's the right play.
Like they would be like, we're gonna have the shortest kick ever and like hit this thing on the ground immediately just so he doesn't kill us. Such a good player. And a guy that, I'll tell you right now, Caden Weejen, his versatility, what he can do on special teams, and the improvements he made as a wide receiver in in college football last year. I wouldn't be surprised if you see him have a pretty long NFL career. I mean that. I mean, especially too now that we have these new kickoff rules where we're trying to make kickoffs more dynamic, where we're trying to make specialists special again in a way. Caden Weegen, man, like he's gonna make a pretty big impact for an NFL team for years to come. You mark that down. You put that on the list right then and right there. But coming up next here on 1620 The Zone Radio Network, we talk about Bryce Sanford and what are his options heading into next season. We talk about that coming up on Middays with Matt.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Is Matt live and rolling here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network? I've been reading a lot on this Brett Yormark, Cody Campbell thing. Basically, Cody Campbell's pissed off because Texas Tech is going to be playing on a Friday, potentially, against Houston. Do you know what's very important to people in Texas on Fridays?
Oh, high school football.
Who does that remind you of? This very state had the same complaints. We were all very upset that the Huskers were going to be playing on a Friday against Illinois.
Yeah, but that was fake. This is real in Texas.
I was setting you up for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm not willing to say that. Here's the thing, though. We really bitched and moaned and got really mad about that. And then that game is probably one of the more memorable games of the Matt Rule era in Husker football. Like that is one of those games where a lot of people remember like how that ended, the throw to Lindenmeyer in the back of the end zone that was missed, the missed field goal kick, the fact that Nebraska was ranked. It would have been I think Illinois was ranked at the time as well. I think it would have broken the streak of ranked wins that Nebraska still currently has not been able to break. That was on a Friday. People got really, really upset about that, but it was still a great game. Cody Campbell was like, BS. How can he have Texas Tech play on a Friday when Friday Night Lights is literally one of the staples of America? I mean, there have been multiple shows and movies created about the importance of high school football in Texas.
That's right.
And Cody Campbell was like, Brett Yormark, you should have protected us. Why are you allowing this to happen? This is a hunk of crap. And Brett Yormark goes, Cody Campbell doesn't run the Big 12. This should be fun. We'll see what more breaks down from that. Let's break down a big decision that is going to happen in Lincoln. Price Sanford is going to have a decision to make when it comes to whether or not he is going to declare for the NBA, whether or not he's going to declare to go to the NBA draft, or whether or not he's going to come back to college. Obviously, Price Sanford will be coveted in the portal if he so decides to enter. But if we've heard anything from Fred Hoiberg, and if we've heard anything from Troy Dannon, we've heard anything from what Dannon has told us about the donors and their willingness to give money, that probably is something that is not going to happen. And Nebraska is going to do everything in their power to not allow that to happen. But it comes down to, how does Sanford handle the decision of whether or not to go to the NBA draft? Now, I do want to update some people on things.
Please.
There is a mock draft out there.
A mock.
On NBA Tankathon, okay? A mock draft in which Price Sanford is going to be selected in the second round, okay? Tankathon has Mr. Sanford going number 46 overall, okay?
Okay.
They list him as 6'7", 210 pounds, a junior. He would be going to the Orlando Magic. That is where they have them.
Franchise.
Yes, very much so.
Good core.
Going to be having a football team in 2027. The
That's
Jacksonville
right.
Jaguars going to be in Orlando when they go ahead and they fix their stadium, which, by the way, Happer and Schaefer this morning mentioned the Memorial Stadium project. I totally erased that from my mind. I totally forgot that was the thing that was going on, that they're trying to figure out when, how, and how much that stadium. I mean, it was such a topic of conversation for so long, and then it just escaped my brain.
Tick tock.
Yeah.
Price is going up every day.
Literally. The price is never the same. And so there is one mock draft out there that has Price Sanford going. Now, after the Elite Eight, Bleacher Report released their mock draft, their 2-round mock draft. After the NCAA tournament and a lot of the evaluations that they made on players in the NCAA tournament, and Price Sanford was not in that mock draft. And so there is definitely some work to do, and definitely some people to convince on whether or not Sanford is going to be a draft pick. I think that it would be very wise for Price to kind of delay this decision as long as possible, maybe get some individual team workouts, bring it all the way up to the deadline, whatever, that deadline last year was April 26th. That was the deadline where players had to declare for the NBA draft. I think it would be very smart for Price to try and delay his decision as much as possible and get in front of as many NBA teams as possible before he makes his decision. Now, to me, I'm very much on the train that Price Sanford is an NBA player. 6'7", has a quick trigger, 42% from the floor this season, from the three-point line this season. The strides that he made from last season in Iowa to this season in Nebraska, simply just being given a bigger role and having more of an emphasis on getting the ball in his hands in advantageous situations in which he took advantage of many, many times, along with his underrated passing skills, in my opinion. Obviously, I don't think that Price Sanford is Bennett Sturts when it comes to playmaking ability, but he's definitely somebody who can, and we've seen this throughout the season, make some pretty tight passes and get some assists. And so I think Price has a lot of tools. I think he needs to get a better handle. I think he needs to add a little bit of weight. I think he needs to improve in terms of his defense, which I do think he took some pretty big strides this season in terms of getting his defense up. But there's a lot of things to add. But we are in an era of the NBA where three-point shooting is always at a premium, where three-point shooting is one of the most important attributes when it comes to whether or not you're going to be selected. And, Price is 6'7". That's a great height. That's an NBA height. He, is not the most athletic, but I don't think he's necessarily very lacking. But when you have the ability to kind of shoot any shot from the three-point line and not be given a lot of space and still be able to knock down at a very consistent rate, that is something that is NBA worthy. Now, let's say he were to come back to Nebraska. What would he gain? Well, he'd get a seven-figure contract, a guaranteed seven-figure contract. He would have a less stressful offseason to improve his weight, to improve his defense. And what do I mean by less stressful offseason? Well, you already know that you're great. You already know that you can compete at a super high level in college basketball, right? And so you're kind of just getting better. You're just improving. When you go to an offseason in the NBA, that's very stressful. You have to have a good summer league. You got to have a good training camp. You got to have good practices. You got to fight for a spot on the roster, especially if you're a second-round pick. You got to take somebody's job. You got to make sure that you're not going to the G League. You got to fight for a guaranteed contract. What he's got going at Nebraska is way less stressful. It just is. So you have a less stressful offseason to improve on the things that you need to improve on. And you also have an ability to create a lasting legacy, even more so than he already has at Nebraska. Because let's say he does next season what he did this season, right? Let's say he makes an all Big Ten first team. Let's say they go to another NCAA tournament. Let's say they win another NCAA tournament game. I mean, are there that many Nebraska basketball players who have made that big of an impact in 2 seasons as he would if he were to accomplish the same things next season as he did this season? 2 NCAA tournaments, 2 all Big Ten first teams, multiple wins in the NCAA tournament. Now, I'm not talking about retiring his number. I'm not going that far, because if you go and you look through the history of the guys who did get their number retired for Nebraska basketball, all of them have played 3 years of Nebraska Cornhusker basketball. He would only have played 2 years, but he has an opportunity to make more money, to be in a less stressful situation, to create a lasting legacy, and be one of the most impactful players that Nebraska basketball has ever seen. Where if he goes to the NBA, he may or may not get picked. And when he gets signed in free agency, if he doesn't get picked, it's going to be one heck of a battle for him to end up making an NBA roster. I think if you're weighing the pros and the cons, it's pretty clear where the pros are at. All right, we got to hit a break here. Steve Sipple coming up next here on 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
You know, there are moments and segments in the show where I have to make sure I go to Twitter and I have to make sure I'm tweeting out our live stream and I have to make sure that everybody knows that this person or this segment is happening. And this is always one of them. We always make sure that we get on the Twitter and we go, we have this person live because he's that big of a deal in media in Nebraska. It's Steven M. Sipple from Husker Online and On3. Sip, it's been a little bit, my friend, since we talked to you. How are you?
Erratic. I'm erratic. That's why.
Why are you erratic?
The schedule's pretty erratic.
Well, are you kind of calm now that basketball's over? Are you more settled in, or are you still erratic?
Am I calm?
Oh, sorry.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. No. You still gotta work.
Well, we always have to work. We're always working, but I mean, the storm is a little bit over now that like spring football's done and basketball's done.
In my mind, the storm is never over. But anyway,
Should put that on a shirt. My God.
How's it in Omaha right now?
It's fun. It's less rain. It was really bad in the morning. It wasn't treacherous, but it was very annoying. It's now calmed down, but major overcast and it's just a little gloomy. It's a depressing scene out. It's just depressing weather. How's it in Lincoln? Are you guys getting the brunt of it right now?
I've always liked gray days, so it's not depressing to me.
Okay.
It's a good work day, good day to stay in and write.
Are you a little under the weather?
Yes.
Okay.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not terrible. Sounds way worse than it is.
I kind of like
Yeah.
it. It's a little like old school Johnny Cash,
Oh God. Yeah, well, that's a compliment, but
well, the voice, not your life, not the current state of your life. I'm just saying your voice is a little deeper Johnny Cash.
Yeah, the voice. I look bad and I sound bad. I got some pink eye.
Oh no.
The trip did a number on me. These trips, but OKC followed by Houston did it. I'm in shambles.
You're in shambles?
Yeah.
Are you a shell of the man you were before Nebraska basketball made the NCAA tournament?
Those two trips took a massive toll on me.
You're telling me that you lived through the Osborne era, the Solich era, the Callahan era. You were there. You were a main character in the Pelini era, and it took Nebraska basketball making the tournament to finally break you?
Well, I wasn't 58 at those
Good
points.
point. Good point.
Much younger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, much more spry. Still
Yeah.
coming off of your silver glove days as a boxer.
No.
No?
I wasn't 11. I was an 11-year-old columnist.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you were. Maybe you were already thinking about what you were going to write about at the age of 11. I don't put that past you.
No, I wasn't thinking about that.
Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. Do you have any opinions on Pacquiao and Mayweather fighting each other for the second time?
It's just Mayweather obviously needs money, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. I mean, that's clearly the case. I mean, that man has made it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't want to say that. And I don't want to judge him or Pac. I wouldn't think that Pacquiao needs money, but you never know. You just never know on that stuff.
You do.
But I'm not that interested in it, to be honest.
Yeah, neither am I.
They're old dudes.
I'm probably more interested in Tyson fighting.
Why?
That's how low the bar is. All right, let's get to it. Let's have a legitimate conversation. Let's get to it.
Tyson, come on.
Okay.
I mean, he's my age. I know what that's all about because he can't do that. But anyway, yeah, let's go.
Before we get into Husker stuff, because you are very much a historian of just sports in general. The UNC job has been open for a week. It's pretty clear at this point that they're waiting for the Final Four to be over. And reports, I just read an ESPN article from Dan Wetzel that said they haven't reached out to what people would consider, quote unquote, second tier candidates. So clearly their top guys are one of the coaches that are currently in the Final Four. Do you think that this UNC job and who they end up hiring is a litmus test for how much it still matters to be a blue blood in this new era of college sports?
That strikes me as an overreaction.
Okay.
It doesn't. I'm not. When I say it strikes me as an overreaction, I don't dismiss that. I mean, it looks like Tommy Lloyd, and yes, so I get where you're going, because the question becomes, why would you leave Arizona for North Carolina?
Yes.
And asking that question, I think it would be misleading to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. It almost enhances the notion that there's still blue bloods, because I think some people would say, well, yeah, he's leaving Arizona for North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina, a real established, true blue blood.
Yeah.
I mean, North Carolina, Kentucky, it doesn't get much bluer, right?
No.
I say UCLA. Some people say, no, that ship is sailed. No, it doesn't sail, and it doesn't go away.
No.
Very easily. But anyway, no, I'm obsessed with the conversation of North Carolina and who they're hiring. It does look like it's Lloyd, so my obsession has been tempered in recent days. But and I'm not big on the Lloyd hire. I guess I get it. Because of the talent he's able to acquire and what I see on the court, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd be more probably oriented toward Dusty May, or maybe even Billy Donovan.
You would go Donovan over Lloyd. Can you expand on that?
Well, I mean, he won 2 national titles at Florida.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
19. Yeah, but the game's now. He coached in the NBA, but now he's going back. He'll be coaching in the NBA again, sort of.
Yeah, great point.
It's all has changed. It's sort of irrelevant to say that was 20 years ago when he was in college. College games changed so much. He'd look good, I think. I think he would make sense. And listen, it's a little irrational for me to say that Lloyd's not a good choice.
Sure.
I mean, since I'm picking him to win the national title.
Yeah.
It's a little irrational. I just don't love the fit based on where he's been, which has always been Gonzaga, West Coast, etc. I would like maybe someone a little more regional, but whatever. It's just a personal preference conversation, kind of.
I agree with that. I do think with Lloyd, you do bring about a valid point with, is it so much about him being a great coach as much as it is about him just being able to acquire some great talent? The one pushback I might give Steve is that I don't think going to North Carolina is going to limit his ability at all. It might even accentuate his ability in a way to acquire great talent, right? So, I mean, I honestly think that if you were beating around the bush, and I'll just finish kind of what I think you were starting. If North Carolina were to hire May or Lloyd, it would totally establish, hey, it doesn't matter. It would totally establish that, it still matters being a blue blood. It still matters having tradition. It still matters having fan interest and what you've accomplished in the past. And I think that has kind of we've been talking about it the opposite way, especially ever since Indiana won the national title.
I love sports conversations because they're nuanced.
Sure.
I'm going to muddy it up a little bit here, but Patino's spiel about how the blue blood phenomenon is significantly diminished now because of the money that teams can use to acquire players. He said there's 40 or 50 teams now that can compete at a super high level, and it's not just limited to the blue bloods don't have this tremendous advantage over everybody now. So North Carolina, me growing up, North Carolina Kentucky had a huge advantage over a lot of teams for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that they don't have a huge advantage over Nebraska anymore. And not if Nebraska's doing it right.
Sure.
And Patino used the Ole Miss as a example. Like Ole Miss, why can't they be super good? You know, just if they have $10 million at their disposal, which they might, they can go get guys.
Yeah.
So that's where Patino's coming from. So I do think I'll always believe the blue bloods are blue bloods, and there's positive elements that come with that. But I'm not sure that that's as much that's a kind of a fan conversation and not as much a pure advantage in on the court conversation.
I agree with that. I honestly think you can now put numbers to it, Steve, because we've seen these quote unquote blue bloods have some of their worst seeds, at least over a couple of years now, right? In terms of North Carolina, making the tournament this year, but barely making it the year before, where Kansas was a 4 seed this year, but they were a 7 seed last year, and they weren't at kind of the same clip they've been. Kentucky being a 7 seed, I think you're spot on in the regard that I think they obviously still have an advantage, but it definitely is not as what it used to be. But I think
Kansas is a great example. Is a shining example of this conversation.
And they really are.
Yeah, and I know about Kansas because Doc's there, and I talked to Doc. But it's tough.
Yeah.
They don't have it's difficult for Self. He spends most of his time raising money. I mean, he's not coaching as much as he wants.
That's fascinating.
So there's Kansas, and then there's San Diego State that played for, that finished runner-up a few years ago. San Diego State was where Kansas wants to be. So, it's not that hard. I get it. We covered it this year. We saw Nebraska as a team that looked Final Four caliber at times.
Yes. Yes. I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. And this is kind of what I've said before, and I'll just mark it as my saying because I love it. Money equals momentum, and momentum equals money. If you have money, you better create momentum. And if you create momentum, you get a lot of money. And Nebraska basketball, it seems like from the mouth of the athletic director, is going to get a lot of money, telling reporters, hey, the donors are calling me to pass the hat around and support Fred. Steve, in that light, what are the chances that they go above what they were this season next season? Is that an unrealistic conversation to have?
Well, we're going to find out starting about April 10th. The portal, basketball portal opens April 7th, but then there's immediately a dead period. There's a dead 3 days. So we're not really going to figure out what's going on until April 10th, which is right around the corner. So from April 10th to April 21, the portal's open. Then at April 22nd, I would feel comfortable answering your question.
Okay.
What's Nebraska going to get for a point guard? What are they going to get for a center? And what are they going to get for a stretch 4 type players, which was probably the 3 priorities, the first 2 being the main one.
Yes.
Can they get, because I think what they got to do is essentially go get a player or players that you can say that guy's one of their top 3 guys. You're going to have Stanford, you're going to have Frager. One of these guys, or both of them, better be, I would think, to advance again to where they did. One of these guys has got to be one of the best 3 players.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we can kind of ascertain that based on what that player or players has done, that will be helpful in the conversation.
Who is the most irreplaceable player leaving Nebraska basketball?
Sam.
Yeah.
Sam's really difficult. So much because of his versatility and a lot of the intangibles. He's a defender. He was very stable with the ball, and then he got to be kind of an offensive problem he was a problem on offense for defenses. He was a kamikaze to the basket. I mean, he started scoring at the basket pretty well.
Yeah.
So, I'd say Sam would be the hardest, and you're not necessarily. I think that point guard conversation is fascinating because I don't think you're not necessarily looking for another Sam. I mean, you might be looking for something much different.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like. I'm sure they have their board, and I'll tell you something about Fred. He ain't gonna let on.
Yeah.
You don't want to give anybody leverage in the market. You don't want to use you don't want those players, their agents, to use Nebraska as their leverage. So you're not going to. I don't think you'll know these players until they start to materialize on campus for visits.
You wrote a great article about the running back room for Nebraska football, and you made your cases and points for a lot of the different running backs. You touched on Jamal Rule, the strong spring that he has, and yet I want to read this quote just from you saying that you let's be clear, I strongly doubt Rule already has won the job for 2026. You say, if I were to guess, Nelson will be that guy to begin the season. And I definitely do think that this running back room, Steve, definitely more emblematic of what they were in 2023 compared to where they were last year, where they just used one guy over and over and over again. I do want to ask you, though, specifically about E.J. Barthel. And maybe let's harken back to this, and maybe you remember it or maybe you don't, but there was a moment where Texas, they were rumored to be looking at Barthel to be their running backs coach. And the reaction from a lot of people around here was, why? Why would Texas be looking at Barthel? What has he really accomplished? And now, about 14 months later, 15 months later, Steve, he's become a pretty significant part of this coaching staff. I mean, can you talk about kind of the rise and the improvement of his stock in a way, E.J. Barthel, from that point, I believe it was December of 24 to now?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I always say, maybe I've said it on one of your shows, I don't really judge assistants until after a couple of years. So the quick judgment on assistants is always, to me, it's misguided.
Okay.
I mean, how do you know? I mean,
sure.
And I talked to E.J. Barthel about this. It was 2 summers ago. He was just figuring out Chicago in Illinois.
Yeah.
That's where his main recruiting area is. Like, what do you expect him to do? Like, he can't. It takes time sometimes to establish relationships with schools and players. And he talked about the challenge. He goes, I'm just kind of trying to figure out how to get this all done. Well, then he started to figure it out. Trey Taylor is basically his. Okay, that's pretty good. You got a pretty good bargaining chip right there if you're E.J. Barthel. And there's other guys, in Puma, I would say he probably had a lot to do with. And then Emmett happened, right? And you have to give him credit.
Yes.
Even if you don't like him, I like him, by the way. I like the way he coaches. He's a tough-minded dude. I mean, he fits Nebraska's culture, old school culture, to be quite honest. I mean, he's a tough-minded guy. Look at him. And he's a tough coach. He's has an old school bent to him. I have no problems with it. I thought the judgments were rash, like just too quick.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of coming around, and Emmett obviously helped. And part of my confidence with that room stems from E.J. Barthel. I like the way Mosey looked on Saturday. I mean, you can only go by, not only, but I try to go by mostly what I see, not what I hear, on radio and message boards and this sort of world we're in where it's so much perception. I just try to use what I see. And I saw Mosey look bigger and more physical running between the tackles. He's bigger. He's put on 15, 20 pounds. I like what I saw in the bowl game from Mekhi Nelson. he's a tough kid. I mean, you cannot question his toughness.
No.
And the way he goes into contact. I mean, he'll knife into contact.
Yeah.
And then of course you see this Rule kid.
Yeah. And he's kind of the same way. He's kind of the same way, Steve.
Yeah, he is kind of. Yeah, he is kind of. Now, and I didn't regard what happened this Saturday as, oh God, look at this kid. I'd heard it all spring.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
The people who watch practice were saying he's the story of the spring. So it was kind of fitting that on Saturday in the spring game before everybody, he was the story of the day. Because I think he was the story of the spring. I think he eclipsed the Calandria. I mean, Calandria was probably that person until,
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. It's an interesting discussion.
This is always an interesting discussion, Stephen M. Sipple. I always love you coming on here, having this discussion with you. You're the man. We will see you hopefully next Tuesday.
Tuesday? What's going on?
Or sorry, next Thursday. Next Thursday. My days are all messed up. You're a mess. I'm a mess. We're both in the same boat here.
We're in shambles. We'll talk next Thursday, okay?
We'll talk next Thursday. See you, my man.
All right, see you.
All right, we got to grab the I'm in shambles for when we make
I'm in shambles.
I tried doing that interview 15 minutes after that, still thinking about it.
He is a man that does not like to be misquoted, so I can't run with I'm in shambles the way I would like to on the internet, but I can cut that as a drop. I can use that.
The way he said it too was so good. I do want to touch on something him and I did have an extended conversation about. I didn't think we'd have this long of a conversation about it, but I truly do believe this. The North Carolina head coaching job and the head coaching search is fascinating to me. Number one, it's because North Carolina hasn't made a quote unquote outside of the family hire since 1952. Okay.
Family looked a little different then.
Yes, very different. There was a lot of things different in America back then. If those kids at home who are doing some quick math, 48 plus 26, 74. It's been 74 years since North Carolina has hired somebody outside of the family. And it seems like at this point, they are going to go away from the Dean Smith, Roy Williams, Hubert Davis tree. And they're going to hire somebody who has a lot of current success now in this current era of college basketball. I've talked about it when this job first initially became open about the whole conversation of, well, if you're at a place where you know you can win and you have money and you have support from the donors and you have support from your athletic director and your fans in this crazy, erratic college landscape, why would you abandon stability? Why would you abandon security, right? And there's many reasons for that. But I don't think the number one reason, let me correct that. I don't think the reason of being the coach of a blue blood is as strong anymore. That was my initial thought. That was my initial reaction. If North Carolina hires Tommy Lloyd, now granted, Lloyd is making $5 million right now. Bill Self is the leader in the clubhouse when it comes to contracts. He's making, I believe, a little bit over $8 million on his deal with Kansas. So there's money involved for sure. But Arizona and Michigan, who has Dusty May, who apparently is also interested, or North Carolina is interested in May for the job, they're going to do whatever they can to make up that difference. But if North Carolina is able to poach Tommy Lloyd away from Arizona, if they're able to take a coach away from a place that has the money to get talent, that has already proven that he can win there, that has the support of the athletic director and the donors and the fans, if they're able to do that, I still think, I think that's a massive indication from North Carolina saying, hey, I know everybody's got money, and I know the gap is closed in a way, and I know that the advantages that Blue Bloods used to have over programs may not be as big, but it still matters. It still matters what color you're wearing. It still matters what logo you got on your chest. It still matters what you have done in the past. Program tradition, program history still plays a big part when it comes to coach interest. And so even though we've seen even in football, some coaches say, no, I'm cool where I'm at. I got what I need. I don't care about what logo I'm wearing or what they've done in the past. If North Carolina is able to take away Dusty May from Michigan or Tommy Lloyd from Arizona, I think it is a massive flag in the ground or on the moon, if you will. Saying, hey, we still here. We still got it. Carolina Blue still carries. I think that would be not only just big for North Carolina, but I also think it would probably be big for other blue bloods across sports, being like, hey, yeah, like look, it still does play a very, very big factor. Now, Sipple quoted Pitino, which I quoted Pitino. Pitino said, NC State is as good of a job as North Carolina. It's basically is what he said. And
I've heard this a lot this last couple of weeks. Yeah.
Look, I mean, I don't know if I would go that far. I don't agree with that completely. The gap is shrinking. But North Carolina takes Tommy Lloyd or Dusty May away. I mean, it establishes, hey, blue blood still matters. So this job search for North Carolina is fascinating. Fascinating.
Also sort of a litmus test for Kansas when they inevitably have to go through this. It won't be this offseason, but what's the market for a blue blood that has a job opening? Like, what? All
right, let's not take a break. I was going to take a break and talk about that next segment. Let's not take a break.
Whoa.
Let's go into it. Let's just do it. Screw it. I don't care.
Whoa.
This is good radio. You sparked the thought. Let's snowball.
Thought sparker.
Because this was on the sheet. Bill Self ain't leaving Kansas. Bill Self was coaching another season. Sipple just brought it up. Doc Sadler is there in Kansas with Bill Self. Sipple said on the radio station, I talked to Doc. Bill spends more of his time trying to raise money to go and get players than he is coaching. And that's tough for him.
Seems unpleasant.
Now, Bill has established, look, after thought, after reflection, I still want to do this. I'm still coming back. Okay. The problem is, though, is that the last 2 seasons, I feel like we've talked more about Kansas's off the court issues or things that are going around their program as opposed to what's going on the court. And while they were a top 4 seed in this NCAA tournament and they made the tournament last season, they still haven't been at the standard that we know Kansas to be at. And I think that is a direct consequence of the money being open and this market being way more free and teams being able to go and be more competitive to get players and blue bloods and the colors in your logo not mattering as much and your tradition not mattering as much. But Bill Self coming back, you're right, Josh. When this Kansas job opens, it is going to be another litmus test. It's going to be another test to see, okay, how much pull does this job have? And I do wonder, man, I think there is one clear and obvious candidate for the Kansas job.
Jacques Vaughn.
No.
Oh.
That is another, by the way, segment in and of itself of does the failures of Adrian Autry and Hubert Davis and, them being fired, does that deter Kansas going the succession route? That's a conversation to be had. But I think there is one clear and obvious candidate. It's Ben McCollum in Iowa. And I think if you're Iowa,
we make fun of, sorry to interrupt, we make fun of make them say no. You got to pick up that phone and make Ben McCollum say no.
Oh my God. And it's one of those things where if you're Iowa, yeah, you take a deep breath. But it's another one where you're going to be holding it again next season. Like, this is going to be a thing for the Hawkeyes, in my opinion. I mean, if I were the athletic director of Kansas, that's my first call. And I don't know if the timeline really matters for Iowa. Like, you can make the argument. An argument could be made that maybe this is worse for Iowa because let's say Bill Self decided to retire right now and you call Ben McCollum. I could see Ben McCollum being like, I only had 1 year here. Like, we made it to the Elite Eight. Like, I want to see this through. Like, I want to see how far I can take this thing.
Wait till I get some of these Northwest Missouri State kids off the roster.
Yeah,
and I start getting some real players.
Yeah, well, not real players, but you know what I'm saying. Like, yeah, you're totally like when
some players with some stars next to their name.
Exactly, more talented players. Like, I could see Ben being like, I want to see this through. But the longer that you go on, and the more that Ben McCollum wins at Iowa, and the longer he feels fulfilled about his time at Iowa, you can make the argument the more likely he is to leave the Hawkeyes. It'll be a very fast. I'm telling you right now, from here on out, as long as Bill Self is coaching, it'll be Iowa holding their breath, being like, I hope he stays on, because their first call very much should be to Ben McCollum and what he could do for Kansas. And I don't. North Carolina, the whole conversation of like North Carolina, because Ben McCollum has been on head coach candidate list for North Carolina. That fit always has felt a little weird to me. Like Ben McCollum is a Midwest guy, Northwest Missouri State to Drake, then to Iowa. Like, he's never. That just doesn't feel. I don't know. It just doesn't mesh. It doesn't really come together. I can't. I can see Ben McCollum in Jayhawk blue. I can't really see him in Tar Heel blue as much. That's always been a weird fit.
They're different blues.
But if that Kansas job comes open, I think it would be a major mistake if the Jayhawks didn't call Ben McCollum. And I think people in Iowa City are like, oh, okay. Like, that's the threat. Like, I really don't think Ben McCollum would leave for another job. I think that is the only place that he would ever consider leaving, just based off of what we've talked about with John Walker, who knows a ton, who's very close, who knows a lot about Ben McCollum, and from what we talked about Austin Jacobson, who his time in media, he knows about Ben McCollum and how loyal of a guy he is and how much the state of Iowa means to him. I really don't think he'd leave for any other job other than that Jayhawk job. And so that'll be another eye that we keep. That's another job that for now, an extended period of time, we keep looking at. But for now, that North Carolina job, that's going to tell you a lot about where we currently are in the state of college sports, in my opinion, in terms of how much weight to still being a blue blood carry. Because if Dusky May and Tommy Floyd both say no, I think it'll communicate a lot to where we are in college sports. All right, that was a longer segment. We'll have a shorter segment coming up, and then we'll have the odd news at 11:45, all here on Middays with Matt on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Is this Creighton, Andrew? All right. We got to go to the Prairie Flower Zone Casino Hot. Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. I keep getting those words mixed up.
Read the card.
There's one card. See, I'm saying there are things that aren't there, Josh. Things that are here are Andrew on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline.
Yeah, it's right there.
Andrew, is this your first time calling into this show?
This is the first time calling a new show. Yeah,
Wow. I'm so happy to hear from you. How are you, my friend?
it's always nice hearing from you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you can do it whenever you want. You just put on the radio. You can hear my voice. I mean, this is an honor for me.
I miss you in the morning. My friend.
I miss you. I miss you, Andrew. All right. What do you got for me, my man?
Okay, like Sanford, like, is there a risk because his body of work of having that great of a year isn't more than a year worth coming back and risking having an off year and then his draft stock goes down?
Well, I don't really know if there's like
a
full yeah, I know what you're saying, but I don't really know if there's a full understanding of like what his draft stock even is. Like he's not even a consensus second round pick at this point. So I think there's definitely more of a risk of him entering the draft and not getting picked. And then even if you do get picked, those second round contracts can get kind of wonky. They're not guaranteed. You can end up being on a two-way contract. It's not necessarily a roster spot that's guaranteed with it unless you're like a first round draft pick. So it's a little, those contracts in the second round of the NBA draft can get a little weird because there's no restrictions on them. So yeah, I think there's definitely more of a risk going into the draft and maybe not being picked very high or not being picked at all compared to coming back to Nebraska and making more money guaranteed than what you would as a second round draft pick. And then on top of that, I mean, I understand what you're saying as, all right, maybe there's an off year, you play that risk, but at the same time, I don't think there's really anything that I saw from Price that would really indicate what he did this season isn't real.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I feel like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
You know what? Maybe that was the case in 2015, Andrew, like in 2015 or before the NIL era, before the money-making era, you're right. You would strike when the iron is hot when it comes to your draft stock, but I don't know if you're damned if you do when you come back to Nebraska. I don't know if you're damned to make a lot of money, and to go ahead and try and create a legacy as a Cornhusker.
Well, I hope it all turns out well for him. He was a great story this year in basketball. And Matthew, I have to eat some crow on all the crap I gave you about Nebraska.
Thank you. Are you excited about the Crown tonight, though? You're playing in April.
Well, no, I wish we would have opted out of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll be real with you. That's how I felt last year. I'm not going to shy away from it. I thought Nebraska basketball should have opted out of the Crown. I was kind of sick and tired of the season too, but you know what? It ended up paying off in a way. You saw what Kale could do. And what if that happens with a guy on Creighton?
See, I don't think a lot of the people will be here next year.
Yeah.
On the team that are on this year's team.
It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, they need to go out and concentrate on next year and finding better players rather than playing in this Crown thing. But that's just my opinion. And everyone has one, so.
Yes, that is true. Just like certain holes in your body. I appreciate it. Andrew, you're the man. Placat going to be at the Crown in Vegas as a member
of the media.
It's going to be awesome.
What a glow up for
a glow up. Look, I honestly, the whole damned if you do, damned if you don't conversation. I don't think you're damned at all if you're Price Sanford if you come back. I think it's actually like the nice cotton bed, the nice cotton king size bed with silk sheets. I mean, you get paid a lot of money to come back to a fan base and a coaching staff that loves you, that emphasizes what you do best with an opportunity. Once again, if Price Sanford were to do if he were to do what he did this season, next season, he would have the most impactful 2-year career in Nebraska basketball history. And there's not even an argument about that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, nobody, if he were to make an all Big Ten first team, make the NCAA tournament, win NCAA tournament games, nobody would have done that, right? I mean, we had a great conversation about Levante David, right? Last week when he retired, about, he's
from bussing with the boys.
Yes, no, not the 3-hour interview, from being a 14-year future NFL Hall of Famer.
I'm familiar with him from bussing with the boys.
He was, forgive me if I'm wrong, I believe he was 7th or 5th in all time in tackles.
Remember, it depends on which list you're looking
Yeah,
at.
which
that
was
really weird.
That was all-time NFL tackles. For Nebraska tackles.
Oh, yes,
the tackles in Nebraska history. I think he's 7th or 5th. Michael Severe is going to text me. He'll know.
He's busy today.
But he did it in 2 years. That was the most remarkable thing. Levante David made history as a Nebraska Cornhusker. He only played like 27 games doing it. Price Sanford has the opportunity to kind of have that same legacy, where he's a guy that made such an impact and you'll never forget what he did for your team, but he only did it in 2 years. So, I mean, I don't think it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think it's way more of a risk going to the NBA draft and trying to get drafted than it is coming back. That's how I see it.
You come back, you have another successful season. You could do things like, play internationally. Kyle Crooks is going to have to call those basketball games with somebody.
I'll tell you right now,
at some point.
Sam Hoiberg's going to play internationally. Sam Hoiberg might try and get on the summer league roster. That would be something. He's going to try. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but he's going to try. Be quite remarkable if he did it.
The Sonics and future Vegas, they're going to need.
They're going to need more players. I'm going to be damned if I don't let Josh Otson do the odd news today, because
you're damn right.
There will be a mutiny from a lot of people in the show if we don't let that happen.
I haven't eaten lunch in 24 hours.
It's coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Put up the ones. We got one story today. He gonna
do one.
He gonna do one. Josh Hudson's gonna do one. But it's a good, better be a good one.
It's a good one. I like it.
All right, you like it?
I like it.
Hey, you like it, I love it. You like it, I love it.
We go to New Haven, Connecticut.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Where
New location. I like it.
Jordan's Furniture.
Oh, a furniture store.
On the hook for a lot of free stuff.
Oh, no.
If UConn men and women make the national championship game, which my research shows they are each one game away from doing.
Is that what your research is telling you?
Yes, I did extensive research last night.
Is that what, just like how Carl Ravish has all the people behind the scenes doing research for him? Is that what they're telling you?
My crack research staff do the research for me. Thank you, Matt. $50 million in furniture set to be given away for free.
Oh, my God.
If the Make the Finals promotion that ran at Jordan's Furniture from January 20th to March 1st comes true, the promotion was simple. Buy some furniture from us, no limit. If UConn men and women each make the finals, you get it for free.
Considering UConn women's basketball was on at that point, it had to be like a 40-game winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
That was foolish. Now, I could see them doubting UConn men's basketball making the national championship game, but still, that's a really precarious situation to put yourself in.
The NCAA messed up the bracket on the women's side, and for some godforsaken reason, UConn is playing South Carolina in a national semifinal instead of the national championship game.
And the men's bracket has done the same thing in a way.
UConn, Illinois.
No, Arizona, Michigan playing each other.
Yes.
That probably should be the national championship.
Many are saying.
I have a point, maybe a silver lining.
Okay.
For Jordan's Furniture. Here's a stat from College Basketball Reddit. The team that eliminates Duke is cursed. Every year dating back to 2018, the team that beats Duke in the NCAA tournament goes on to lose the very next game. Kansas beat Duke in the Elite Eight. They lost to Nova in the Final Four in 2018. In 2019, Michigan State beat Duke in the Elite Eight. They lost to Texas Tech. In 2022, North Carolina beat Duke in the Final Four. They lost in the championship game to Kansas. In 2023, Tennessee beat Duke. Then Tennessee lost to FAU. In 2024, NC State beat Duke. They lost to Purdue in the Final Four. And last season, Houston beat Duke in the Final Four. And then they lost to Florida in the title game. So since 2018, every team that's beaten Duke has gone on to lose in the very next round. The team that Jordan's Furniture needs to lose in order to not go potentially bankrupt.
Yeah.
Beat Duke, which is UConn.
Now,
so
to pull the curtain back a little bit,
Go ahead.
There is an insurance policy in place, so Jordan's isn't out anything. In fact, they're getting a lot of free advertising.
What do you mean they're not out anything?
It's all covered by insurance. They are not set to lose a single dime.
Really?
From this promotion. They paid the insurance policy before the basketball season started this season.
My God. Good for them.
Yeah.
I guess. Now,
but it's still fun and still like, oh, is it going to happen?
Whoa, are we going to have to save up for a new insurance policy? Our agent's going to be really pissed at us. Here's a funny thing, though. I am curious. So I did buy furniture on credit. I have an NFM card. Okay. I wonder if Jordan has that system. If I've already paid some payments, could they pay that back? But
I can't imagine they would.
Wacky Guess Wednesday. The next guest coming up on the show, not wacky at all. He is in Crown Town to announce tonight's game between Rutgers and Creighton with John Bishop. Connor Happer joining us on Middays with Matt. Coming up next here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
To give you some advice here, you should go to 1620thezone.com immediately to go and enter into McMaster's matchup. If you go ahead and you enter into McMaster's matchup, you will potentially be selected to be assigned a golfer that will be competing in a very big tournament in Georgia next weekend. And if your golfer ends up winning, you get $250 cash. Sign up for McMaster's matchup. Goes all the way through April 5th on Sunday. I'm giving you that advice. Somebody who's given me a lot of advice in the time that I've been here in Omaha, one of them being get into debt, and the second being get an NFM card, is Mr. Connor Happer, who is in a place where I don't know if he's going to buy furniture in Vegas, but it's definitely a place you can get into debt is in Vegas. He's there not to do that, though, to announce the crown. Connor Happer joins us. Hap, how are you?
You could definitely go into debt in Vegas. Yes.
Breaking.
Mm-hmm.
Have you? Well,
You
I don't think you're responsible. You haven't gone into debt. You know what? We don't have to put that out there on whether or not you've done that. But how has your time been in Vegas? You hosted a show this morning and where you had to wake up at probably like 2:00 in the morning to get ready for it. How are you? How are you feeling?
I woke up at 3:30. I took a shower just to wake myself up, but then the show started at 4. And I really didn't need to wake up at 3:30. I really needed to wake up at like 3:50. So it turns out when your studio is this desk, which is very near this bed, it's really easy to just do a show.
Dude, it's awesome. When I was doing shows in Chicago, just getting up from my childhood bed and then walking to my desk, it just felt like it was so much better than driving to work. Driving to work, you don't realize how much it sucks until you don't have to do it. You know?
Yeah.
You're just
but
like,
I do like going into the studio, as Josh can attest. I make it a priority because once you get into not going in, then you're gonna like. I got sick of it when we had to stay home for COVID for like however long it was. I was an absolute disaster for like I had to go in as soon as I possibly could.
Were you in shambles like Steve Sipple was today? Did you hear about this?
I heard. I was listening. I was watching right here on this very YouTube.
Yes, you have gotten our audience riled up more than anybody's ever gotten our audience riled up by commenting. You commented crown, and then proceeded to put, I believe, 45 different crown emojis. So you are announcing the crown tonight. I'm very excited for you because the last time that you were in Vegas announcing with John Bishop on the radio, we got this absolutely iconic and virus call.
Horse crap call.
Do we get another horse crap call tonight in Vegas? Do we get a reference to the horse crap call tonight in Vegas is the better question.
A reference probably would be my guess. I don't know. I don't know how these games are going to go. I don't know how there might be like 8 people there. There might be 45 people there. There might be 1,000 people there. There might be 3,000 people there. I have no idea.
Did Joe tell you who the officials are?
Yeah. Has he told you who's officiating this matchup tonight?
We do not know who the officials are yet. So yeah, we're working on that. I don't know who they're going to be, but there's a lot of guys available who are not working the Final Four this weekend.
Yeah, a lot. One of them being Kelly Pfeiffer. Maybe Kelly is in town. Maybe he's in Vegas with you. That would be fun.
K5. You get some Evan Burrows going. You could get some one-eyed Pat Driscoll. You know.
Could. I'm just waiting. I'm really hoping because I will listen to part of it tonight for sure because you guys are great on the call. I'm just hoping that there's like a block charge opportunity, and I just want to hear you go. Was he standing like the statue at New York, New York?
I got as I was boarding the plane yesterday, because John and Rob were on the earlier flight, and I got a text from Rob Anderson of a view of the Statue of Liberty out in front of New York, New York. He was like, "Yep, looks like the Lady Liberty is still set," but there was a question whether she was in the restricted area or not.
One of the best poll questions that happened during the Connor Happer show was a picture of the New York statue, and then under it was, "Is it in legal guarding position?" Because her foot is up. Her foot is kind of up there. I don't know if you have 10 toes down, if that's legal guarding position or not. But let's talk about it. First off,
I'll take another visit to the statue this evening. I'm looking forward to going down to the Strip.
You're going to have a lot of fun. I'm excited for you.
I want to ask you about this though. Let's get serious here. You very much have entrenched yourself in Creighton men's basketball, and we all know how much Creighton men's basketball means to you. And you are you're a great broadcaster. And you do a great job of representing Creighton men's basketball on the air, and also being the in-house MC for everyone who goes to the games. Just personally for you, like, this is potentially Mac's last set of games here. I mean, not potentially, it is his last set of games, and tonight might be his very last game as the head coach of Creighton men's basketball. Just how much does it mean to you to be on the call for that, and knowing that you will be on the call for his final game as the head coach of Creighton men's basketball after he set such a significant legacy?
Yeah, thank you for asking. A lot. It means a lot. I mean, it's the reason why I'm here. So, like, I don't know. I probably don't make the trip if that doesn't happen, or whatever. But it's been a heck of a run, and so hopefully that's kind of the attitude for these guys this week. I think they're probably excited to play again. I haven't been around the team since I've been here yet, but they're probably excited to lace them up one more time, and they want to send some guys out the right way, including Mac himself. But yeah, I mean, it's a dream to do anything involved with Creighton basketball, given that I grew up with it and all those sorts of things. So yeah, whether it's doing the home games inside the building, or being with John, who's the GOAT. Yeah, it's awesome.
What you made a great point today on your show that, like, I agree with you, and maybe this is more so my statement, and I think you were getting at it, but like, I just think this whole conversation about whether or not the crown matters is exhausting. I don't think the conversation of whether or not it matters really matters. The guys are there, the team is there. You brought up this morning, making a great point that, like, hey, these are competitive D1 basketball players. They're not just going to show up somewhere and be like, oh, we don't want to win. Like, they're obviously there because they want to win it. I know that this roster very much could look different heading into next season, considering the fact that they're going to have a brand new head coach. But is there anything that you're looking for specifically in these set of games? Is there anything that you have an eye on? Is there anything that you're excited to see? Is there anything that kind of piques your interest in terms of the potential games that they could end up playing here in Vegas?
It's funny because this whole thing takes on a different sort of prism since Nebraska won it last year. And so, you sort of look at it through that lens. Hard to tell whether that meant what they did this year. But it's whether it's a coincidence or not, it happened. And so I'm thinking, like, okay, who could be the Cale Jacobson, who makes themselves some money, or who makes themselves a better option, a better place for Creighton's lineup next year. Or a lot of the book has been written on this season, but like, I think about a guy like Owen Freeman. Is he in line for some playing time? We'll see. I don't know what the plan is as far as that's concerned, but like, if that guy can have a good 3 days here, that changes the view on him a little bit, I think, coming off of the year that he's had, obviously. So he, and getting back from the injury and then not playing again and getting injured and in and out and in and out and in and out. Like, if he could have 3 nice days here, I think that obviously, like, the first thing and the most important thing, I guess, is like, okay, makes him feel good, makes everybody feel good about sort of what happened this year. At least gets a good taste in your mouth at the end of the year. And then the other thing is, there's a lot of examples of guys who played in this event last year, not just on Nebraska, who, like Georgetown, Micah Peavy opts out or whatever. And then the guy, Mac, he goes off in the crown, and all of a sudden he's worth, 2/3 more money or whatever for whoever else, or for Georgetown to keep him, and whatever it might be. So I think there's that that you're sort of thinking about at this thing. I mean, these games are on TV. There's no other college basketball on, and so it's an opportunity to showcase a little bit. Creighton hasn't had a lot of success in Vegas. Maybe there's that part of it too. So get off the schneid there. You're coming back in November anyway. So why not get yourself feeling a little, good.
And I also think it is like, to note, we always talk about Nebraska, but like UCF was another team that was very much in this crown tournament last year, and they ended up making the NCAA tournament this year. Like, same thing with Villanova. That was a team that made this crown tournament last year. they ended up being an NCAA tournament this year. I think USC is another team too, where it's just like there are multiple examples of teams that played in this thing last year that were able to parlay any sort of success or whatever it might be into a tournament victory or tournament berth the year after. In terms of Mac, right? In terms of just him being around, like how has this been for him? Have you been around him at all? Have you talked to him at all? How is he approaching this? Is this just? I mean, is it? I don't know. I obviously it doesn't. I don't know if it adds to his legacy at all if he ends up going out on top as a crown champion. But and I don't think it does. But just how has he been? Has he been any different from how he's been during the regular season or the times that you've had around him?
Yeah, I think you saw him let loose a little bit over the last week or so since the press conference, since the Huss announcement. He's gonna have a bunch of family here, so I think they'll let it go. They'll sort of let it fly this week. I don't know. I guess ask me again tomorrow, I suppose. But him, like if they win tonight, they'll go back and they'll work on whoever, Stanford or West Virginia, and then it'll be like it always has been. And then you got a quick, relatively quick turnaround. I guess you have one day off tomorrow, but so you're always with these tournaments. You're in Vegas, especially. You're always balancing like, oh yeah, I want everybody to have a good time and enjoy their experience. And then there's the added thing with Mac, but also, we do want to win because we have an opportunity to win. So we do want to win. And but I do think he's let loose a little bit, finally coming out with it. Hey, this is it.
I like having these interviews with you because typically when you and I talk on the radio, it's about like, why do I live my life the way that I live? Or how can I be more like Connor Happer? And we talk about a bunch of nonsense and not typically a lot about sports. And so I do want to ask you a legitimate sports question here and get your analysis on it.
I thought you were going to ask about my life.
No, how is your life? Are you okay? Are you doing well? Are you...
It's fantastic. Look at where I am.
You're in Vegas. You're in your spot.
I got mountain view.
Nice. Did you have to pay extra for that, or is that you just got luck of the draw there? You'll be proud of me today, by the way. I picked up around the studio. I cleaned up the studio after people were here today. That's a big character development for me.
Yeah, they asked me when I got here because I've stayed here probably 3 or 4 times now, and I had stayed on the side with the pool with Stadium Swim. And that's great, but I had done it 3 times or whatever, and so I figured they were like, "Do you want to do mountainside?" And I was like, "Mountainside? That sounds pretty good." So yeah, I have mountainside.
After watching Paradise, every time you look at a mountain, do you go, "Are people living in there, or is that a livable mountain?" Do you overanalyze mountains? No, you haven't. Okay, that's shocking.
Great question, though. Now maybe I will. I do. I have enjoyed myself that show through the first 15 episodes I've watched.
I can just imagine you walking around a mountain now and trying to break down. It's like, you know what, livable mountain, or you being like, this would be a terrible mountain to live in.
I don't know what makes a mountain more livable. Either way, you have to blow a hole into the mountain.
That seems like a very difficult thing to do. I think probably a base. Probably the wider the mountain, right? Probably the
mountains have good base. I mean, it's not just one mountain; it's a bunch of It's like all mountain. They all have a base.
You're looking at all mountains right now. You see every mountain you could possibly see in Vegas.
You probably couldn't see it in this because it's
no. I saw your tweet. You were tweeting out your view and everything like that, and you were at the place with all the TVs. How was that? Are you a multi?
I love that place.
Okay, you're a big multi-TV guy. I'm sure.
I'm actually not.
Really?
But like I like having one TV, mostly because it's mostly an aesthetics thing. Like I don't like having clutter. I don't like. But the situation downstairs at Circa here is not cluttered at all. There's giant televisions with a bunch of stuff going on, and then there's the sports book right below it. It's tremendous.
Well, I think the reason why you like Vegas is that there's a lot of grace in Vegas. There's a lot of fanciness and grace. You're the type of guy, I feel like you like marble. You like nice Italian marble, and there's a lot of that in Vegas. You do like the nice Italian marble. Just like, by the way, Connor Happer was right. I'm looking to invest in an ice maker. I don't have one.
It's life-changing.
I'm getting sick and tired of the cubes. The last 4 days, I've had to fill up my ice cube tray over and over and over again and like dispose the ice in the bucket. I'm done. I'm sick of it. I'm using my United Miles to potentially buy an ice maker. So there you go. Alan Huss is going to be the next head coach of Creighton men's basketball.
That's right.
I just and back to this is me asking you an actual sports question. How, in what way, in what biggest way? Because there's going to be a lot of different ways that the program is different. But in the biggest way, how will Creighton men's basketball be different under Alan Huss compared to what it was under Greg McDermott?
I think he said it in his press conference. Disruptiveness defensively. I think how they decided to set the defense up post Kalkbrenner this year was always, sort of an interesting choice. Now, I don't think they have the athletes to like do exactly what they wanted to do, but it's hard. But look at teams like Iowa on the defensive side, and then you could scheme it as well. Like Nebraska's done a little bit this year, and I think that was referenced in Huss's press conference too, or in our conversation with Huss last week on the show. You can be disruptive, and it doesn't have to always. They had gotten so used to the Kalkbrenner thing because they just and now Jason Green's sitting playing a drop 5 and he's 6'7". It's really hard, and he's held up incredibly. Like I'm shocked, but when John and I talked about it when we were on the air here in November, and they were playing Baylor. I'm like, Jason Green is playing a drop 5 right now. Like this is kind of wild, and he's had some injuries, but generally he's held up okay. But he's not a rim protector, so you don't need an elite rim protector in order to do what you want to do. So they're going to try and, heat it up a little bit on defense, which I think is great and welcomed, and try and do a lot of the same principles and stuff like that on the offensive side of the ball.
So that's an interesting answer, because I think and I hate this term, but it's the best way to describe it. Low hanging fruit is, hey, when Creighton goes into the transfer portal, they got to get this big center. They got to get this big rim protector. But are you suggesting that there might be a world where it's more important for them to go and get aggressive perimeter defenders, guys who can, guard their specific position, whether it be the 1, 2, or 3?
Well, I mean, they've had defensive players of the year at a variety of different positions now. It's not just Kalkbrenner. So like they've done a really good job at working with what they've had. I mean, Tyshawn Alexander was incredible, and Kyrie Thomas was incredible on the defensive side, and they both sort of brought different things that could either hound wings or hound ball handlers and things like that. So the center conversation, the big conversation, is always a matter of who is available, who are you going to be able to get, and who else is already after them, and who do you have inroads with. And if there is a guy who meets all the criteria of, we have a relationship with this guy and we think he could be a rim protector and do some of the things that Kalkbrenner was doing, then awesome. Like best case scenario, right? That's great. But that's not always the case. And so, everybody wants those guys. And so there's only so many of them, and you also have to develop them as well. And that's one of the things that Huss was really good at when he was here as an assistant. And so I think they'll be able to, create that a little bit in the aggregate, and then, heat some things up on the defensive side with guys who can really defend individually.
And I think, like, I've been reading articles on like what teams need in the transfer portal, and I feel like every other article I read is big man and point guard. And unfortunately for Creighton in a way, and unfortunately for every other team that needs that, so does everybody else. So that'll be super competitive. I proposed something. I proposed an idea during Josh and I's mini crossover that I feel like that you would have a great opinion on. I want to flip Dodge Street. I want to take everything that is on the right side, and I want to put it on the left side. And I want to take everything that is on the left side, and I want to put it on the right side. As somebody who travels west to east and east to west, as opposed to me traveling east to west and west to east on Dodge, do you support or deny this idea of mine?
No, I like in my travel to the station, everything is on the left, so why would you want to flip it?
Because everything is on the left for me. Every place that I would eat breakfast at is on the left, and every place that I would eat lunch on is on the right. And when I leave work, every place that I would eat lunch at is at the left, and every place that I would eat breakfast at, but I don't want breakfast anymore, is on the right.
But if you're coming from downtown and going to the station at 50th and Dodge, then how is everything on the how is everything on the left? I just said everything is on my left when I come in from the west.
Well, I don't travel to where you're traveling, and you don't travel to where I'm traveling. We're traveling in different directions.
Okay. No. I would like them to open up a couple of more things. Sure. But there's enough businesses, and I will decline this idea of completely flipping over Dodge Street. I'm sorry.
I needed you. If I had you, I had it all. I mean, you were my main endorsement.
I don't think your support alone, or my support alone, was going to be able to get this done for you. It seems like a very difficult project, but I also thought that blowing a hole in a mountain and creating a city was a difficult project when it happened in that show.
What would be a more difficult project? What would be a more difficult project? The streetcar or flipping Dodge? I think it might be the streetcar. I think it might be easier to just take everything to the right and throw it on over to the left. Then you just get different buildings.
Or blowing a hole in a mountain.
Or blowing a hole in the mountain. Honestly, I think Omaha would do better as a mountain town than a streetcar town. Ooh. What if we just blew holes in the Council Bluffs and we lived there?
Interesting. I mean, definitely interesting. Do you want to live under Council Bluffs, or you want to just like decimate Council Bluffs and start anew? Is that what you're saying?
Ooh. No, I would like to live in Council Bluffs. I would like to live in the Bluffs and then go and create a casino within the Bluffs. What if we created?
You have that. You have the option to live in Council Bluffs. You can't already.
No, but I want to live. But I'm saying I want to, like Paradise. I want to blow up the middle of the Bluffs and live in there. How about we do that? Okay. That's our compromise, and then we go and we gamble.
It's interesting. It's an interesting idea.
Connor, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. You're the best.
You're welcome.
Josh is currently on the phone right now. I want your former producer.
Who's Josh calling?
Someone's calling him.
Whenever you guys have this conversation, you have to throw in the caveat of, and it's why I said it earlier, Matt, you can turn left into a business.
Okay, but
you have to say it, or people shout at the radio, "Oh my gosh, he doesn't know."
I do know, but I don't want to be that guy.
But you have to say it.
But when somebody's turning left in front of me, I call them a jackass, and I get very, very mad about it. I don't want to be a hypocrite. Matt McMaster's a lot of things. A hypocrite is not one of them.
Interesting.
Noted.
Thank you. Please note that. Please put that in the law.
What do we do? I'm saying bye.
You're saying bye.
Goodbye, Connor Happer.
Oh, goodbye, everyone. It's so great to see you and hear from you all. I'm going to go eat lunch.
Ooh,
where are you eating?
Crown Town.
Where are you eating? Where are you eating?
There's an Asian place downstairs.
Wow.
Panda Express. Wow.
God. Mm-hmm. You can take the man out of the Imperial Palace, but you can't take the Imperial Palace out of the man. Connor Happer. It's pretty special. It was, how was that time at the Imperial Palace in college in 2002?
I love that place. I was not in college in 2002, Matt. Is that what you said?
That was what? You were in college. Let me do it. You were in college in 2013?
I was in college in that year, yes.
There we go. Look at me. I know Connor Happer like
I was all up in Imperial Palace in 2013. That is
it's still open. I'm pretty sure it's still open. Pretty sure it's still there. It's the same people.
That place can't close.
That place has all of these high technological places around it, and they're still on the same cash register from 2008. It's awesome.
That's what
and
I'm
they
talking
bring
about.
you
That's
up.
my kind of place. This is not the place I'm going to downstairs is not that kind of place.
It's a fancier Asian place.
Yes.
Can we specify what type of Asian place it is? Is it is it Japanese? Is it Chinese? Is
fusion?
Is it fusion? Is it
sushi?
Great question. Yes. It's called 8 East. So you can look it up.
Okay, we'll look it up. We'll see what that menu looks like. Well, you know what? Here's what we'll do. We're gonna let you go, and we're gonna look at the menu, and we're gonna guess what you ordered.
Or you can text me what I should order.
Oh, we can do that. We can have a scouting report for you. We can do that. We'll look at that.
Tremendous.
Connor Happer, you go and eat your Asian food. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Pretty early lunch for Connor.
12:30, 10:30. Yeah. By the time he gets down there, maybe a mosey, and it's 11:30.
No, what do you mean a mosey? He's not gonna. It's not gonna mosey for an hour.
Yeah,
Why would
be
he
a long,
mosey
be a
for
long
an hour?
mosey.
Be a long mosey.
Mm-hmm.
Justin goes Palace and Lincoln. I believe it's gone. No, I'm talking about the one in the student union.
Oh,
Can you imagine if there was a car wash at the Nebraska Student Union?
I mean, that's kind of what we do now. We just put car washes everywhere.
Okay, let's look at this menu.
I'm looking at it.
What do we got here? What's it called? Grade 8?
8 East.
8 East. I'm thinking of Alexander Ovechkin.
Oh,
He had a hat trick.
Ovi.
By the way, Macklin Silverbrini had another 4-point game yesterday. 105 points as a 19-year-old in the NHL.
Whoa.
Good Lord.
I think he's got to get the crispy pork belly bacon.
Ooh, but bacon is a carcinogen nowadays. We got to protect our boy.
What?
Bacon is a carcinogen. That was a new thing from the Department of Health. Look, if you look it up, bacon carcinogen. You're not keeping up with what's carcinogens and what's not carcinogens?
I'm not keeping up with what certain people are labeling carcinogens these days, especially avid smokers.
Good point. I'm just letting you know that recently it was upgraded to a class 1 carcinogen. All right. No, I'm not. This is not political. This is just a fact.
Mine was more political than yours.
Okay. Small. Have you ever had a steamed egg at an Asian place before?
I have not.
Pretty great. Let's see. I don't think, is Happer an appetizer guy?
I'm gonna say yes.
Me too. All right, the crispy pork belly. Yeah. Oh, the cumin lamb lollipops. Pretty damn good.
Yeah, that was one that I saw as well.
See, I don't like that we're adding weird meats to fried rice. Brisket fried rice, no thank you. I don't really need a whole lot of protein in my fried rice, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay.
I
think that's a generally good take.
You know what? I don't like any of these entrees. Sizzling noodles, I don't think that's Happer.
I like the Dan Dan noodles.
The Dan Dan noodles, stir fried and tossed with Sichuan sesame and peanut sauce. There's like the drunken noodles. Went to what is it? Salween Thai or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very popular place.
And why I had to pick up that for a girl that I was going on dates with.
Hello.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of ruined now. That place.
Oh, because we're not.
No, this was last year. I wasn't even.
At some point today, we should discuss last night.
Went great.
Hello.
Had a good time. No, not in that way.
No.
I have a team. I have a player option to be picked up.
Okay.
We'll see. We're trending in the right direction. There were text message exchange after said date.
Okay, that's good.
Went to the Stuffed Olive over by the Moe and Curly's in the Capitol area. It was a great time. I had a lot of fun.
I'm thrilled for you.
Thank you.
And
I
her.
appreciate it. I think from this point on, we'll probably be talking about the second dates. The first dates are coming in. They've been no problem. It's the second dates that we need to start putting together. We need to start developing there. We need to start building a foundation, just like Nebraska football. We will talk about Nebraska football and what is the foundation that runs that program. We bring that up next here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We have a caller on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Before we get to that caller, I do want to talk about a story real quick. There was a Lane Kiffin article that was released by On3
Lane Train
yesterday. The main quote of said article was, "Why not win year one? You don't build stuff over 3 to 4 years anymore." Now, the article made it out to be as if Lane said that. Lane did not say that. That's not a Lane Kiffin quote. That is a quote from an anonymous LSU donor. Now, the article, and I'm going to be frank with you, you don't really have to read it. I did it for you.
Thank you.
It's a puff piece. It's a lot about Brian Kelly wasn't all that good, and he was disconnected from the team, and the attention to detail was too much, and Lane Kiffin is letting it rip at LSU, and the players and staff and people around the program feel more free. There was a quote about Lane, about how charismatic he is and how, donors love giving to him and he's great at talking to people and so on and so forth. One donor said that's Lane's infectious personality, in terms of referring to the fact that LSU did enter this season thinking they would spend $25 million in roster building. They ended up spending $40 million because of Lane and wanting to get it rolling right away. Now, obviously, if you read that quote, why build, no one builds at things, these things over 3 to 4 years anymore. You think, if you're a Nebraska fan, well, we are. That's what we're trying to do. And you might face palm or have a tough reaction to that. The one thing that I always go back to in terms of this quote, why not win in year one? You don't build stuff over 3 to 4 years anymore. Well, you don't build stuff over 3 to 4 years anymore if you can help it. Like if you can build it in year one, then do it, right?
A lot of people are building programs in 4 years now, sometimes even longer.
Well, the thing though is that what does LSU have? They have the chicken tender man. Arkansas has the Walmart people. BYU has the cookie man. Indiana now has the Mark Cube man, right? I mean, like
cubes.
If you have the resources and donors and, big money billionaires who are willing to support your athletic department, like a Cody Campbell for Texas Tech, yeah. Why wouldn't you build it in year one? Why would you wait 3 to 4 years to build this thing? If you got the money, if you have the ability, it would be dumb. It would be stupid to sit around and build it over 3 to 4 years. And the fact is that Nebraska isn't broke by any means, but Nebraska doesn't have that type of cash. I mean, that's just a fact. I mean, the football coach has said it himself, right? It's not necessarily about being at the top with these guys. It's just about getting over the bare minimum, the minimum amount you need to compete with them. And that's where Nebraska is. Nebraska's competitive and able to get recruits from, high caliber places like they did with Paul Mubango, who had a lot of SEC teams knocking on his door, and Nebraska was able to render his services. But they're not at the very top. And so Nebraska, because they don't have, this is a program that is more in a position to build a program over 3 to 4 years. And, my one thing though, is that like, when you build a program over 3 to 4 years, you set a foundation, you set building blocks, you set something that you can put your hat to, that you can say, this is what we do. And then you build on that and you supplement that and you create momentum that way. My one thing is that like, my one question would be, what is the foundation of Nebraska football? You can say culture. I think that's a valid answer if you want to say, hey, culture is our foundation. Because I'll tell you this, for the lack of success you think they might have had over the first couple of seasons with Matt Rule, it's not for a lack of effort. They are trying. They are working hard in there. I can tell you that for sure right now. They are putting the pedal to the metal and trying their absolute darn best to figure this whole thing out. It's not because they don't care. It's not because they're not trying. So if you want to say, it's culture, that's fine. That's okay. But my next question would be, what is the foundation within the roster? Like, what's the foundation on the football field? I think the answer to my question would be, well, they tried building the foundation of this football program through the quarterback room. They tried building it through Dylan Raiola. Then they wanted Dylan Raiola to pass it off to Latif, who then would pass it off to Trey Taylor, who then would pass it off to the next guy. And things didn't work out with Dylan. And so your plan for a foundation in a way sort of crumbled when you
lost that succession plan, and then you had to go and get a guy like Anthony Calandria. If it were up to me, if it were, my suggestion of what would you build this foundation from a roster perspective through Nebraska football, would be the offensive line. I think that has to be the foundation of Nebraska football from a roster perspective. Obviously, you need the culture perspective. You need the off-the-field perspective. But from a roster perspective, I think it would be the offensive line. And that's why every time I hear good things about Jeep Wade and his coaching style and what he's doing in terms of recruiting and, the just the impact that he's having on that program, that's always music to my ears, which, by the way, Keelan Rutledge, a guy that played under Jeep Wade at Georgia Tech, is a guy that's getting a lot of late draft buzz right now. We'll talk about a mock draft that I saw today in regards to Emmett Johnson later. Let's go to the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Nathan from Ohio wants to talk some shenanigans. I got a couple minutes with you, Nathan, before we got to hit a break and get to This Week in Women's History at 12:45. Right, but what do you got?
This is a great segue. So I want to preface this by, I know you guys don't control the commercials on the podcast, right?
Sure.
So, the podcast, it just plays these commercials before and out, the intro and the outro to your segments, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And usually I'm used to those following, my algorithm, right?
Yeah.
But in the case of your show, it follows you. So, a couple examples of this, right? There was a time you and Gary, someone was yelling at you because there was an ice commercial on there.
Yes.
And you said something about ice or whatever. I swear to you, the next week and a half, it was nothing but Spanish commercials.
Okay.
And then lately, because of you guys are on this pro women kick, I get nothing but commercials geared towards women. And currently it is just time after time after time, Midwest breasts about getting a mammogram. So I just let you know that you guys are influencing the market.
Just trying to help, Nathan.
Being the most progressive
progressive. We're the most progressive show in 1620 The Zone. I appreciate it, Nathan. You're the man. We got to cut you off just a little bit short, but we are the most progressive show. Which why coming up next, we celebrate women from across the decade. Something we do every Thursday at 12:45. Upcoming next this week in women's history with Josh Hudson.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We love our staple segments here on Middays with Matt. Every Wednesday, we have Wacky Guess Wednesday because we love to get wacky. Okay, we love
That's
to talk
what they
to
say
different
about
people.
us.
We love to get wacky, right? And every Thursday, because we are the most progressive show here on 1620 The Zone. That's established. Everybody says it. So many people have told me that before.
It's not just us.
Not just us. We celebrate the women of history. Women of history that this young man that I am, who was born in 2002, like I was, may not have known or may not have been able to appreciate or have been able to really soak in the art that they provided us to on a screen, or maybe in writing, or maybe through doing things that no person had done before. So introducing this latest segment of This Week in Women's History, Josh Odson. Please give us our first lady through the decade.
Before we begin, I would like to ask how many we have time.
We have time for two for sure, and we might get to a third.
Okay, that's kind of where I thought we were at.
2 to 3.
Woman number 1, Jacqueline Smith. Jacqueline Smith.
I do not. I've never heard of this.
That's a rather generic name.
Jacqueline Smith, an American actress.
That's right.
She was in CSI.
I'm sure she was at one point. Not her most noteworthy credit.
Let's see. She's an American actress. She's Kelly Garrett in Charlie's Angels.
That's right.
I know what Charlie's Angels is
because of the 90s movies, I imagine. Yes. Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu.
Or the 2019
Bill Murray.
movie.
Oh, goodness. That's right. There was a 2019 Charlie's Angels with the girl who bites her lip all the damn time.
It had
Kristen Stewart.
Yes, and Kristen Stewart, and then I think Naomi Scott was in that movie.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken. I don't know why I know.
Those are your Charlie's Angels?
Yes.
Okay, incredible.
I think
That's fine. That's fine.
That's how I know. I'm sorry.
Nothing to be sorry about.
I know they do this.
Yep, they do.
Right? That's
they be doing that. Matt's making the silhouette gun
right
pose.
here.
Yeah.
That's what they do. This is, look at me as a Charlie Angel.
You could do it.
How hot am I?
There you go,
okay,
Joey.
Great.
Have
so,
that for your Photoshop.
There you go. So Jacqueline Smith, is that really all? She was in The Bourne Identity?
I could not tell you anything she did that is unrelated to Charlie's Angels.
She's got a couple.
Well,
she's got a long-standing relationship now, but she's been married 4 times.
Hello.
Okay.
Missed my shot.
Yeah, I bet you did. So was she like the angel of Charlie? Or was she Farrah Fawcett was a
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Didn't we have Farrah Fawcett?
We did. Farrah Fawcett was one of the origin points of this segment.
Yes, it was. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Now, great job, Josh. Jacqueline Smith, not a Playboy.
Oh, good.
Magazine model. So very good for you. I was so disappointed in you when you did that the last time. So, all right, let's our second woman through the decade.
We're gonna go Linda Carter. That's Linda with a Y. Linda Carter.
Okay, I believe I've heard this name.
Okay.
Firefox is taking a while. Linda Carter. Linda Joe. Okay. Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Not surprising. She was Miss World USA in 1972.
Oh, okay. Then that probably got her.
She was Wonder Woman.
That's right. Television's Wonder Woman.
Wow. She looks the part.
She does.
I don't mean to act like we're talking about a Husker, freshman in spring football, but
she looks the part.
She looks the part. She's popping early in Wonder Woman, the TV series.
So they said about Linda Carter.
That's what she said. That's what everybody said. Okay. And now does she do anything now? There's a picture of her and Bill Clinton. Were her and Bill, was that a thing in the 2000s?
I don't know, but that doesn't
shock
really surprise me.
Okay. I mean, I do know a little bit more about Bill Clinton because I'm reading that one Klosterman book.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So
we could probably just do the women of Bill Clinton.
That would be a great segment, or the women of Derek Jeter. All right. We got, so she was in Maybelline commercials?
Sure.
Are people like who were born now
gonna know Jennifer Gardner for being in the Capital One commercials?
Oh, that's a great question.
I've thought
Yeah,
about that. Because
probably.
what has she done recently for a kid who was born in 2015 to really know her for?
Oh, that lady who was in Deadpool and Wolverine for
Like,
4 minutes?
Literally, she's done what has she done anything notable recently? All right.
She's raising a great family.
Our final one.
Final one. Who do I want it to be? I'm gonna go. This is the one you might know. Jennifer Connelly. Jennifer
I know Bill Connolly. Bill Connolly does SP Plus.
I don't think there's any relation. I would
Really?
be shocked if there were.
Well, that would be big for Jennifer.
It'd be big for Bill.
Okay, so she was big in the 90s?
Yes.
All right.
Still works today.
What's her most
sparingly.
famous work in your opinion?
Whoa. Okay. I should probably go with A Beautiful Mind.
Okay.
Most people would say either Labyrinth or Career Opportunities.
You wouldn't say it's because she was the Amnesty International Ambassador for Human Rights Education in 2005?
I would not. We also would have accepted that scene in Requiem for a Dream.
In Requiem? Is that the one where the legs and stuff? Or that's Basic Instincts, I think.
Yeah, that is Basic Instinct.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know the star of Basic Instinct?
No, I just know it from Deadpool 2.
Okay, then I'm adding her to the list.
Yeah. The Deadpool 2, he does the Basic Instincts move, and I didn't know that was a thing, and then I found out through that movie that existed.
Okay, we'll be adding her to the
Okay,
list
all right,
next
great.
week.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, yeah, did she go to Yale? Holy Lord.
It's entirely possible.
After graduating from high school in 1988, Connolly went to Yale to study English literature.
Good for her.
My God.
See, it's you think this segment is one thing. It's not.
I mean, the beauty in the brain.
Yeah.
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. I mean, this is a very pretty woman. This is a very, I'm saying, what? I can't acknowledge it. This is a gorgeous human. She went to Yale. And she went to Yale. She was modeling before she went to Yale.
Some people can do both.
David Bowie was in Labyrinth.
Yes.
David Bowie acted.
Yes.
Okay, good to know.
She's very serious. She's not silly. She doesn't have that buoyancy, said David Bowie about Jennifer Connelly on the set of Labyrinth.
Okay, good to know. And then she had a hiatus and then a return. Has she done anything recently?
I believe she was in Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, was she the bartender?
Yeah.
Wow. She was great in that one. I was a very big fan. Jennifer Connelly. Gotta add. That was great. Great stuff. Very educational.
Important contributions in history. Those were all mega moments in pop culture.
Coming up next, we talk a little bit more football from across the country here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
And the championship is here. It's the Omaha Food Fight presented by Union Bank and Trust. It all comes down to this, the final two. The Drover versus Dinker's Bar and Grill.
Oh, man.
I haven't been to the Drover. I have been to Dinker's. Great burger. Really good fry. The onion rings at Dinker's. Legit. Who will be crowned the best of the Metro? Hey, that's up to you guys. That's up to you to vote. The championship round voting runs from now until the end of Tuesday, April 7th. Vote now at 1620thezone.com for your favorite restaurant and see if they are crowned the champions of the Metro with the Omaha Food Fight presented by Union Bank and Trust. We're calling audible at the line. Ooh, calling an audible here. Omaha! Yellow, set!
Don't hike me off sides.
You know what? People don't like it when you say that, Josh Hodson. Better be careful. Better be careful. Now, the reason I'm calling it audible is because our dear friend of the show, Robin Washit, just published an article on Husker Online.
Whoa.
Okay? On 3. And it is juicy.
Whoa.
Okay?
Really?
It's juicy.
Okay.
It's a juicy article.
Let me
right?
get there.
Okay. All right. Robin, by the way, will be on Sportsmanlike Conduct later today. To talk about said article.
Okay.
Here is the title of the article. After an unforgettable run, will Nebraska basketball have the resources to ascend even further? Here is a quote from Fred Hoiberg in this article. A lot of very significant boosters have really stepped up, Hoiberg told Husker Online. I'm excited about that, and they're excited about our program and working with our guys. We still don't know exactly how that's going to play out and how that's going to transpire. The rules, I think, are still a little bit gray as far as how it's all going to work. Now, the nice thing is that we know what Fred Hoiberg is referring to because Nebraska still is very much tied up in an arbitration case between the College Sports Commission and their NIL clearinghouse, NIL Go, for those who need a reminder, or maybe for those who are just joining us and they may not be aware of this. 18 Nebraska football players are currently tied up in an arbitration case against the College Sports Commission clearinghouse because of a thing called warehousing. The College Sports Commission has made it very clear that if you're going to be paid third-party NIL money, there must be goods and services that are laid out that you provide. Playfly Sports, a media group, is paying players on the Husker football team, and they're not necessarily fully laying out what these players have to do in order to receive those that compensation. And so the College Sports Commission is saying, hey, you can't do this, but Nebraska football is these Nebraska football athletes are fighting against that, right? And saying, well, it fits the letter of the law based on what the NIL Go clearinghouse has. So that's an arbitration case that is going down that, if it rules in the favor of Nebraska, is going to be good for Nebraska football and going to be good for all of the teams who are kind of doing a lot of the same thing. There was a great article written about this with how a lot of schools across the country are doing what Nebraska is doing. And if Nebraska gets shut down, that means a lot of teams and a lot of players and a lot of athletes are going to get shut down from getting that compensation. But what Fred Hoiberg is saying here is, we got a lot of people who are stepping up. We have a lot of people who are giving us money. We don't know how that's all going to transpire, but we have that. This was a quote from from Fred. He goes, but we still feel good about where we are. Troy Dannon has been awesome and very supportive of what we're trying to do. We appreciate it very much. It's a constant battle. You're always looking to get as much as possible to put your roster together. It's a daily battle. This is something you didn't have to worry about 5 or 6 years ago, but now it's obviously as important as anything that you do with your program. Steve Sipple was on here earlier today. He's got some sources within the Kansas Jayhawk basketball program and kind of revealed that Kansas is going through that as well. And that was kind of why we had this little touch and go moment with Bill Self. One of the reasons we had a touch and go moment with Bill Self of whether or not he was going to come back and coach. Bill Self is coming back to coach. Here, though, is a continued writing from, this is now Robin writing about this.
Dannon had already said NU planned to increase its revenue share allocation for men's basketball in 2026-2027. It's projected that the Huskers could move to the middle of the Big Ten to around $4 to $4.5 million. This is up roughly from $3.5 million this season. So what Robin is expressing here is that not only are donors lining up to go ahead and give Fred Hoiberg some money and to give him some additional resources, but the athletic department as well is ready to up their rev share number almost a whole $1 million. Robin continues from there. The X factor is increased NIL support from the program's booster. Nearly every high-profile Husker donor was in the arenas cheering for the team during March Madness. During last month's appearance on Husker Radio Network, Danny suggested that men's basketball contributions could reach new levels. Entering the offseason, this is the big one. All right? Entering the offseason, some think Nebraska's overall budget, rev share and NIL, could approach $8 million. $8 million. If I told you that a year ago, what if I told you this a year ago? Hey, entering the 2026-2027 season, Creighton and Nebraska men's basketball could very well end up similar in how much money they're spending on the basketball team.
I'd call you a liar.
$8 million, man. That ain't nothing. All right. That's something. That's a lot of money, man. $8 million. You're spending close to some of these schools who are, there are Big East schools who don't have football teams, who only have basketball teams, who basketball is their main sport, their main point of revenue. I'm not, I'm not referencing Creighton here. I'm referencing some lower teams in the Big East when I say this, but like Nebraska's going to be spending more money than teams that only rely on basketball. Now I don't know Creighton's number specifically, but not every team in the Big East is spending a lot of money. There are $8 million, man, is going to put you very competitive, very, very competitive when it comes to playing basketball. And $8 million is going to be fairly similar to what Creighton men's basketball is rumored to, have ended up spending last season, right? Those are, I've heard rumors of 6 to 8 million. That's something that has gone through my ear, right? That's not reporting. That's just rumors, right? The fact that Nebraska basketball is gearing up to be in the same realm of that rumored number is quite something. It's quite something. And it goes ahead and proves once again what comes from authentically manufacturing genuine success. What comes from exceeding expectations. What comes from inspiring people through your coaching, through your development, through your play. Because that's what Fred Hoiberg and this Nebraska basketball team did. They didn't have very high expectations. I'll put my hand up. Put it up. I'll be honest. I wasn't very excited heading into this Nebraska basketball season. I didn't know what it was going to look like. I was not sitting up here saying that they were going to make it to the Sweet 16. Honestly, Mike Schaefer wrote while he was a fill-in, before he started working here. Mike Schaefer went on that board and wrote, Nebraska basketball is going to make the NCAA tournament. And that was enough to put on the prediction board. All right?
They called him crazy.
They ended up going to the Sweet 16. This was not just a successful team. This was not just a historical team. This isn't just the greatest Nebraska men's basketball team of all time. This was a magical season. And the reason why it was a magical season was because you didn't expect a whole lot. There wasn't a ton of hype going into basketball season. Nobody was saying that Price Sanford, the guy who could barely get on the court on a bad Iowa team, was going to end up being an all Big Ten first team player this season. No one was saying that. And through good coaching, through good culture, through belief, through love, which you saw that love in that great video they posted on the Nebraska men's basketball account about how Fred addressed everybody after the game. Through all of those things, they accomplished something that nobody had accomplished before. And this is the result of that. If you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come. Fred Hoiberg built it. He built it, man. He built the team. He built the historical team. He built a roster that accomplished something that no other Nebraska basketball roster was able to accomplish. And they're coming now. Donors are passing the hat around. Everybody's putting in something that they got. And now, granted, this arbitration case is going to be pretty, we're going to see how much NIL can really, how far it can go. And Fred, even in that article, says, like, things are kind of gray right now. We'll see how it all turns up. But I think it's even beyond just the money. The message is sent. If you perform, Nebraska donors are willing. I mean, this is the one thing I've talked about with Nebraska football. And this is not just Nebraska football. I've talked about this before with all programs across the country, right? Everybody is really riled up right now from a donor perspective because in the past, teams that had more tradition and teams that were blue bloods and teams that had won more in the past had the advantage on you. And unfortunately, we have a lot of things here in society. We don't have a time machine, okay? A donor couldn't go back in time and have teams win games they ended up losing and build their tradition and make them blue bloods. You couldn't do that. But now that we have the rules that we have, donors have the power to cut the gap, right? Can't go back in time and make your beloved friend, your beloved school a national champion so they could have more of a tradition and more of a history to get blue chip prospects. But what you can now do is give money so you could cut right through that. And so donors were incredibly eager at first to go ahead and give a ton of money to get these players to contribute to NIL. But we're going to get to a point now where donor fatigue is going to set in across the country. And some donors are going to figure out, hey, man, I'm just giving my money to a kid just so they can leave the next year. I'm giving all this money to this program. Why? Just so they can win one playoff game? I'm giving all my money to this program so they can not even make the college football playoff? People who make money, they're not dumb. These donors aren't stupid, right? They got the money they got for a reason. And if you continue to peddle out underwhelming result, and underwhelming result, it's common sense that it's not going to be willing to give it to you as much. Nebraska basketball and Fred Hoiberg is the proof that Nebraska fans in general not need, but they're the proof that, hey, you know what solves everything? Winning. Do you know what cures donor fatigue? Happiness. Do you know what cures donor fatigue? Doing things that people didn't expect you to do. And that's what Nebraska basketball does, and now they're going to reap those rewards, man. Good for Fred. And good for the diehard Nebraska basketball fans. I can never stress that enough. The ride and dies, the people who have been through mountains and mountains and mountains of crap and who've been disappointed year after year, and who it's been shoved in their face that they're the only Power 5 team to never win a NCAA tournament game. Not only did that happen this year, there is a want and a motivation and now a dollar sign behind wanting it to happen again and again. We didn't talk about it with Steve Sipple, but Steve Sipple was vindicated this season because Steve Sipple got on this very radio station in the morning show last year. It was like, I don't understand these super low expectations for Nebraska basketball. I don't understand why we're just okay with them being average, why we're okay with them being an 8 seed. I don't understand. Like, Nebraska basketball should be good. Nebraska basketball can be good. This could be, and Steve, and people looked at Steve, man, and people were like, get out of here. It's a football school. Man, Steve in a way was proven right, because after Nebraska basketball had one season of remarkable success, you have a line out the door of people wanting to give to them. of people wanting to see it happen again. Jimmy in the YouTube comments, love Jimmy, goes, already got your ROI. Nebraska basketball has proven that if you invest in them, you're going to get something back. And there are programs across the country, across the nation, that haven't proved that. And there are men and women too, and coaches just in general, who have lost their jobs because they haven't provided the ROI. Right? Fred Hoiberg's doing that, and he's getting more of an investment. Kudos to him. Kudos to Nebraska basketball. Coming up next, we talk to somebody who was boots on the ground for the entire Nebraska basketball NCAA tournament run and who might be in Vegas. I do not know. I don't know where Andy Kendi of KETV is at. We're going to find out coming up next on 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
And we do want to remind you, if your lawn needs a makeover and you've been dreaming about having your own backyard oasis, well, we have an opportunity for you, an opportunity of a lifetime. Go to 1620zone.com and register right now. You can register for a chance to win a $10,000 outdoor upgrade from Roberts Nursery Landscape and Lawn. They can make your backyard dreams come true. They offer a ton of services, including patios, landscaping, retaining walls, fireplaces, water features, pergolas. They also have a nursery for all of you green thumbs. You can go to 1620zone.com right now and register for a chance to win a $10,000 backyard makeover. A person who's not in his backyard right now, he's actually on a walk. I've been walking as well on our hot girl walking season, if you will, as some might coin it like that. On his hot man walk, maybe we'll put it that way. It's for Andy Kendi from KETV. Where are you walking, my friend?
I prefer old man walk.
Okay, that's good too. Yeah, that's okay.
I couldn't be less hot at this moment. I've got a huge parka on and a hat and gloves. It's very chilly. I'm at Standing Bear Lake. There's a little trail. That's kind of my routine.
Whoa! Yeah. Over at Standing, I've been fishing at Standing Bear before. I like that reservoir.
There you go. Yeah. Well, it's right across the street from our subdivision. So this is kind of my daily pass. So you got me right. Perfect time. So if you hear some birds chirping in the background, how's the structures looking? Are the like, is there good vegetation along the walls? Do you see some weeds? Do you see some lily pads? Is there some sticks sucking into the ground? Can you scout it out for me? Does it look like a place where some bass might be hiding? Right under a certain spot, I'm sure, but I'm the untrained eye, so I don't know if you really want to go on with my expert analysis or non-expert analysis, I should say.
Okay,
but I will say you would have the lake to yourself if you went out today.
Yeah. This is
I
not.
don't see anybody out there. In fact, I haven't seen a soul on this walk yet.
Yeah, no, this isn't 1:20. Probably not the best time. They're a little dormant right now at times at 1:20 in the PM. Sometimes, especially if you're going after northern pike or walleye, you like to go at the night because they're night feeders, or you go early in the morning. That's just little trick of the trade. No big deal. This isn't a fishing radio show. This is fishing is a sport. But
Maddie, the other day, this place was packed.
Was it?
On the lake, on the trail. When we got that big heat wave, whenever that was.
Yeah.
The days are mushing together, but
they are mushing together.
Only the hardy souls go out for their old man walks on a 40-degree brisk chance of rain Thursday.
Well, all bundled up and getting his exercise in. While you're getting your exercise in, let's use your. We'll get your brain going a little bit. We'll have a mental workout, if you will, answering some of my questions. My first question to you is, have you slept? Like, have you gotten any rest? I mean, you have been on the road here and there, everywhere, Oklahoma City, Houston. You guys had a very, very long delay trying to get back to Omaha. How are you? How was the entire NCAA experience? You were there. You were boots on the ground for all of it. Just kind of detail for me. How was it for you covering such a historic event?
It was awesome. Great. It's March Madness for a reason. They, we kind of knew, especially playing a person down with Matt Cecily having moved on, and that role still is yet to be permanently filled. Eddie Messel stepped in admirably, and he's been a true pro, and he's been awesome for us. So, but Lauren and I on the road, it's just kind of like Groundhog's Day. Like, what's the next step? What do we have to do? How do we do it? How do we get from A to B? When do we go live? All that stuff. And we shot for each other, which is an added element. I don't know if people realize that, but so it was good. I mean, I will say Houston, between the buzzer malfunction and the just the setup of the arena. If I'm the NCAA, I probably don't go back to Houston for a while. That was probably one of the worst logistically set up shops that I've been a part of. That was just poorly set up. At one point, guys, to get from the floor when we would do interviews in the locker room, the media room was like 2 flights of steps up, which is not a huge deal, but at most sites, the media room is adjacent to the ground level, so you just go run, do your thing, and then run back. You know, in Oklahoma City, they had the media room in like a storage area, which is fine because it was so close to the court. Proximity is your big thing. So in Houston, you'd have to go up a couple flights of steps to their practice gym area. That's where the media was held, but it was also the post game setup. So
okay.
For the first day, you had to walk through the news conference area to get to the media room, and that was quickly changed. It was like, like they were changing rules like every hour, so you had to be on your toes. But it was fine. It was fine. It was good. But I'll tell you, there's nothing better than being in a winning locker room, and there's nothing worse than being in a end of season losing an NCAA tournament game, especially one that you felt that you probably should have had.
Yeah,
that's pretty tough stuff.
Yeah,
and that was a tough locker room because you just felt for those guys because you guys saw the game, they had it, and then couldn't hit a shot to save their lives down the stretch, and that cost them. Got to make shots.
I'm, you know what, and I'm going to ask you a tougher question here, but I think it's a good insight, and you're kind of the perfect person to answer it because you've just been in the business for so long, and people had it's referring to questions in the locker room, right? A lot of fans were a little upset when it was asked to Price and it was asked to Braden Frager.
Oh, I know where you're going with this. Yeah,
people were upset that it was asked to them immediately after losing. Hey, what are you doing next season? Or why? What are your plans? Right? And some people in that moment made it very clear to their voice, like, "Hey, they just lost. That's not a great question to ask. It's inappropriate." But from your perspective, a longtime media member, why do you think a question like that needs to be asked in that setting?
100%. It's not only should you ask, you have to ask because that's probably the only shot you're going to get these guys, right?
Yes, seriously.
And honestly, I might have a different feel and a different perspective 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Guys, these guys are professionals. Like it or not, they're professionals. I know they just had their hearts ripped out, but that's part of being a pro. You got to answer questions, especially on your impending future, which really dictates how you move into the off season.
Yeah.
And to Price's credit, he answered it like a pro.
Mm-hmm.
Price Sanford was the most popular guy, him and Sam, right? But for that Iowa game, because of the Iowa component, there was probably 20 people from Iowa just waiting by Sam Price's locker for him to get done with the main media podium, the one we had to walk through at one point, to talk to local reporters. And not only that, you can only get so many people around when you're sitting down. So he had to answer 3, 4, 5 waves of the same question. I mean, I get it. I give him credit. They answered it. He answered it like pro. But you've got to ask the question. I'm sorry. I don't know if people think it's insensitive. Maybe.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
But there's a way to ask it.
Sure. And by the way, when I say that's what it is, that's what people thought. Like that's why people they believed it was insensitive. So, but continue.
I understand that. I understand how you could feel that. You also have to understand that people want to know the answer to these questions. Yeah. And obviously, he's not going to have the answer. He's not going to say, you know what? Not only am I not coming back, but I'm going to enter the transfer portal. Nobody's going to say, nobody's going to say that. But you still have to ask the question. It's just part of doing the job. And I think Lauren asked Price the question, to be honest with you. And she answered it, and she asked it in a very, very sensitive way. Like, hey, I know that this is minutes after you guys just lost, but I have to ask about what your next step is or something to that effect. And he answered it like a pro, like I haven't thought about it that far, blah, blah, blah. And then the other reporters are like, okay, 1, thank you for asking that question. That's what they're thinking in the head. And 2, they're like, yeah, we're going to use it, whether in print or in TV, just to mention at the end, like, hey, he still hasn't made up his mind and that type of thing. I'll tell you the biggest challenge for us guys was to kind of decipher what the hell happened with the 4-man on the floor thing.
Sure.
Because of the media setup, I was gathering the camera and we had to bring a TVU down there to portable live shot, gizmo that we have to wear in TV for people who don't know.
Yeah.
And so I'm setting all this stuff up. And I walked through and I'm like, what the hell just happened? And some guy who doesn't care about this game is eating chips or something. He's like, Iowa just got an and one. Probably put the game away. I was like, yeah, but the announcers were going nuts about something. Could you see it? Because, we're running around. We're
yeah.
Courtside because we have to be in the hallway to get their walk-off,
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of our biggest challenge. Like, what the hell happened? How important was it to the grand scheme of the game? And that's the thing that I don't think people realize, especially TV people, that what the TV people have to go through, like, behind the curtain. So, like the Vanderbilt game, okay, we can hear what's going on. We're trying to position ourselves in front of the Nebraska locker room so we can get their walk-off, good or bad.
Yeah.
But their locker room is halfway across the arena from where we're at. So when the arena goes nuts, I'm like, okay, something good happened for Nebraska. I look up, I see. And I asked one of these old lady securities, I was like, what the hell just happened? And she goes, oh, Nebraska just made it. I go, do you know who hit the shot? She goes, I don't. He was white. And I was like, okay.
That doesn't, that doesn't narrow it down.
So, obviously we saw the replay, Braden Prager, and then we're in the tunnel watching on a monitor, and it's a little delayed, and you hear the whoa with the in and out thing with Vandy, and you look up and you see just how close it was. So, that's the type of stuff you have to do. And then, oh, by the way, you got to go in the locker room and ask sensitive questions. I understand it demands a certain level of professionalism, and I think that's good because that's where we're at in the college game right now because these guys are professionals. Period.
We'll have one more quick question here for you before we got to let you go and wrap up this edition of Middays with Matt here on a Thursday. Andy Kendi of KETV Channel 7. Biggest thing that Nebraska basketball needs to acquire in the transfer portal in the coming weeks is what to you, Andy?
Probably a ball handler / playmaker in the realm of Jamarcus or Sam, in my opinion. And that's assuming that Oogie is healthy and can get that, the eligibility thing going. I do think you need another big, but I think right now, with what you're losing, I think that is the absolute need to find a ball handler / their point or off guard, somebody who can handle some of the, ball possession mode, the ball possession duties, like bring the ball to court and that type of thing. You're going to lose Rank Mass. It's a huge loss.
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to have to find somebody that can slide into his role per se.
Sure.
But we don't know if that is on the existing roster or not. I do think that they do need to go out and get a ball handler, though.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
It might, you also have to look at it from the perspective, Andy, of do you get a second big to be the rim protector or do you trust Leo Curtis enough to develop into that role? I think that'll be another question that we look at. In terms of the crown, are you invested at all? Are you looking for anything at all?
Keep the crown in Nebraska. Keep it in Nebraska.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, keep it in Nebraska. Well, I'll watch tonight. Sure. Why not?
Hey, it's a stat. Every single winner of the crown has gone on to go to the Sweet 16 the following season. That is a stat.
See? There you go. I would just like, the last head coaching memory for Mac to be a positive one. So that's where I'm pulling for.
Yeah.
Not being out there. I'll watch, and you will hope the guys do well because don't get me wrong, we don't know these guys, but you know them enough, and you know they're good kids, and you want the best for them. That's kind of like the Nebraska thing.
Yeah.
Do you root for them? Of course in your heart of hearts, you want them to win because it's, in my opinion, a better story.
Sure.
But plus, you kind of know them. You kind of want the best for these kids who put so much hard work in and representing the state as well as they have, both Creighton and Nebraska. So I'll watch Creighton and see how long Greg McDermott can keep coaching, right?
Was your April Fool's Day prank on Lauren telling her you were sending her to Vegas to cover the crown?
That's a good question. No, my April Fool's joke was like, hey, Lauren, I'm taking some time off, and I'll see you a week from Monday. And she's like, is this April Fool's or real? I go, actually, it's real. So that wasn't really an April Fool's joke. I was just telling her the schedule.
Andy Kendi, you're the man. We will talk to you in a couple weeks, my friend.
Thanks, boys. It's 1.34 miles right now. I'm still going.
Nice. All right. Attaboy. Very proud. Very proud. Very good work from Andy Kendi there.
Walking is good for the heart.
I would have told you right now. That would have been incredible. April Fool's joke on Lauren, telling her she's going to Vegas because she's been traveling a lot, and I could tell you from sources she's done.
She's done traveling. Okay, so it wasn't I really want to go to Vegas. It was I really would like to sleep in my own bed.
There you go.
Okay.
Those two have been running all over the place, covering all the sports across the country without Matt Statilli. That son of a gun who's going to be all over the Boston College beat. I don't know if you know, people are, ball knowers know this, but maybe casual people don't. Bill Murray has been all over UConn, right? They keep cutting to Bill Murray. Have you seen this during the NCAA
he's got
tournament?
some kid on the bench with the coaches and the suits and the shoes.
Okay. First off, I like that they wear suits. I think it's awesome. I think it's great. Secondly, he doesn't have a kid. He's got Luke Murray, who's the head UConn assistant. He's like the brains behind Dan Hurley. That's
his kid, right?
That's his kid.
Yeah.
Bill Murray's kid is the right-hand man to Dan Hurley.
I remember when that young lad was at Xavier.
Okay. I didn't know he was at Xavier. But Luke Murray.
Jays fans are tired of seeing Bill Murray at basketball games.
Here's the thing about Luke Murray, though. From the people that I talk to around college basketball, he's legit.
Yes.
And he's a very, very good basketball coach. And the people who are around him think incredibly highly of him. I don't think he's going to be at Boston College for too much longer. I think it might be a pretty quick stint for Mr. Murray in terms of where he might end up coaching in the future. But already at a Power 5 school is Bill Murray's kid. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to us. We have reached the end of our show. Coming up next, we will tell you what to watch tonight and the dog of the day, all here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
fan starts complaining, then it's an issue. All right? Some people, I'm just saying, I can point things out, but they're like, oh, you're young, you can't complain. You know what? Damn that.
Earn
Yes,
your
I can.
stripes, kid.
If something is all right, let's lay it out.
Oh.
If something is stupid, it doesn't matter how young I am. Okay? It's stupid. I'm just saying.
Wouldn't know incompetence yet.
They're like, well, there's some things that you got to earn in time. No, if it's dumb, it's dumb. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't matter what year I was born.
It's a good. Yeah, that's true.
Just sorry. I just get riled up in here. I just get riled up.
I know. We'll get you in the triggered chair in about 10 minutes. Don't worry.
See, now the fact that is like a goal now of people is a little
bad goal to have.
Yeah, but you know what? I should have brought out the trigger chair for that one because I did get a little mad. I got a little upset, but you know what? It was,
You're human.
Yes,
it's allowed.
Do you know what humans do? They like to watch things on their television.
Excellent segue.
What are we? I'm getting better at them, man. Like you can't deny that. What are we watching tonight?
NBA doubleheader on Prime tonight. Wolves and Pistons at 6. Lakers Thunder at 8:30. But college basketball is the focus tonight. The Crown quarterfinals continue. Stanford, West Virginia, 7:00 on FS1 in a game that will inevitably push back the start time of Rutgers Creighton.
Throw out the record books. Throw them out. Stanford and West Virginia. Just get rid of them. They're going to break everything.
9:30 alleged tip for the Blue Jays tonight on FS1, but the superior broadcast is right here on 1620 The Zone. Shoot-around begins at 8 with Austin. John Bishop, Connor Happer take you inside the arena in Vegas at 9:00. NIT semifinals, Tulsa and New Mexico at 6 on ESPN, followed by Illinois State and Auburn at 8:30 on ESPN. Remember, don't let Auburn win the NIT or they get to say, I told you so.
Good point, Josh.
NHL on Hulu tonight, Caps Devils 6:30, followed by Mammoth Kraken, all aboard the Crack Wagon at 9:00. Baseball, just a 3-game slate in the bigs today. Mets Giants 8:40 on MLB Network. Matt,
this is going to be a fun one.
All right, folks, let's talk right now. I'm going to kill your bookmaker. I'm going to rip his throat out. I will blow this man out. I will step on his throat until the man chokes. Let me tell you how. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. I'm on a roll.
Dude, you got to love dogs, right?
He knows a dog a lot because he's not of Major League Baseball. He's of college baseball.
No, I don't.
Tony Vitello. Tony V and his boys.
Tony V, he's a big leaguer.
They went to San Diego, and they won 2 of 3 there. I don't know if people know.
That's a series win.
San Diego is supposed to be pretty damn good this year. We bet on Tony V earlier in Dog of the Day. He won. We're going to ride him tonight. The New York Mets have had a slow start this season. 3-3, but their offense has been incredibly sluggish. Listen to this. 4 runs against the Pirates, 2 runs against the Cardinals, 0 runs against the Cardinals, 1 run against the Cardinals.
Whoa, you cannot let the Cardinals shut you out.
The big, bad overspenders of New York.
This is a great take by you.
Aren't able to score runs. They're not going to score runs tonight. Ray on the mound for the San Francisco Giants. Give me the Giants plus 108 tonight. Tony Vitello gets his first home win in San Francisco as the Giants manager. Coming up next, Unsportsmanlike Conduct gives you live coverage from the Crown. John Bishop in Crown Town. Josh Peterson right here in studio. Crossover coming up next.